Hi, everyone. This is Norman Kochnick here in, obviously, Sydney, Australia. But I'm actually joined by two, I would argue, the most esteemed pair of gentlemen that I could ever have graced my screens. That is none other than Jim Maxwell with his 48 plus years of ABC broadcasting experience, and David Graveney. I'm not sure how many years of selecting you've done, but I'm sure it would be reaching quite a number. Welcome to you both.
I have a title, Norman, which I'm sure Jim will laugh, actually. I'm the longest-serving chairman selector since the Second World War, which I'm not quite sure is actually something to be pleased about or not. So
You should be very pleased about that.
You were ahead of him, Doug Insole and all those blokes.
Oh, yeah, Alec Bedson a lot, Jim. I've seen them all off.
Very good.
Actually, sadly, we've just lost one of our selectors or pass in Ted Dexter.
Yeah.
Who was a selector before me. So,
Lord Ted.
And he was famously, Jim, put down the England's lack of form, which was probably against Australia, down to something to do the position of Venus in the sky. Which
you did mention that, yes. I mean,
well, you would have been around now, wouldn't you, Jim?
I don't know how he survived being here as captain in 62-3 with the Duke of Norfolk as the manager. That would have been very, very testing, according to Barry Knight. Very testing.
Very MCC-ish, I would say, Jim.
Very MCC-ish. So I think the Duke was a somewhat bibulous character. Yes. He enjoyed the tipple. There was actually, while I'm on it, there was a funny story Barry told about when they were at Mount Gambier. You know, in those days they used to play all these up-country matches. And they played a game against South Australian country or something. And afterwards, there was a reception at the local bowling club. And all the players received a little tin, like a soft drink or beer can, and you know, a steel can. And they were handed to the Duke. And he thought, what on earth is this? And the president proudly said, what you have here is something unique. You will not find this anywhere else in the world. You have each got, as a souvenir of playing cricket in Mount Gambier, a can of Mount Gambier air.
Actually, Jim, I've actually been to Mount Gambier because when I went on a tour, which was, I was the manager, Mike Gatting was the coach. Mm-hmm. This is the one that was captained by Adam Holyoke, and actually a lot of those players went on to play for England. Michael Vaughan was on it, Dean Headley, a lot of names I can reel off. But we did play at Mount Gambier, which was quite an interesting place, I would have to say. It was sadly lacking in people, Jim, if I remember rightly. But
it has a blue lake in the middle of town, a blue lake, I think.
Yeah, no, it was. No, it was, and Norman and I have been talking about and I can only reflect upon talking to Uncle Tom of playing up country games between test matches, and how that helps people regain form, maintain form, have a break, and also, more importantly, an enjoyable experience where they weren't quite under the same pressure as playing in a test match, and they enjoyed the country. You know, if you play Test cricket these days, you wouldn't know which country you're in. You just know what mode of hotel. And I know the bubble is something different, but the scheduling doesn't help.
Now you're in a bubble. You're just in a constant bubble somewhere, quarantined, and you know.
And I've spoken to some young players, Jim, and then the guy called Bracey, James Bracey, who's who comes from Bristol. He's been in a bubble for about 6 months and not played. So it's just terrible. And unfortunately for him, in some ways, he's not married. He doesn't have a young family. But if you're married and have a young family, that is crippling.
Yeah.
And it's no wonder some of them are beginning to, I think they will all go on the Ashes, but some of them are beginning to, question whether or not, they can afford to give up the time of their family, which is understandable. So.
Yeah, well, who knows what it's going to be like when they get here, because at the moment, it's hard to see how they could go Brisbane, Adelaide, Perth, Melbourne, Sydney with our current restrictions. We've got, as I said to Norman the other day, Australia is a Commonwealth country, but it has 8 republics at the
Yeah.
moment. Every state is doing its own thing.
This is just
and,
this is how West Indies cricket is run, Jim. 8
exactly.
different countries.
Exactly.
That's it. That's what we become more and more under the disruptor of COVID, which is throwing people's lives all over the place. And talk about mental health being affected. People are going nuts.
But can you get into the country itself, Jim, or not?
If you quarantine, yeah, you've got to do 2 weeks quarantine. And we haven't got our heads around that either, because I think Darwin's really at the moment the only place that provides a quarantine housing rather than the other states. You got to go into a hotel, and these hotels have proved to be COVID hotspots. So we're a fair way behind in the way we've managed it. But the main thing is we're behind in the vaccination rate. So once that picks up, hopefully everyone will come on board and we'll open up a bit. But who knows?
That's an interesting concept. 5 test matches in Darwin.
Well, at this stage, I think Premier Palachuk from Queensland, I've mispronounced her name deliberately, would probably host all 5 happily. She'd put the bid in for sure, yeah. The Queensland and WA are the 2 states that are kind of a bit one out in all of this. Yeah,
because I don't know if you remember, actually, the one of the series when I first got involved, I could never really. Well, this is a reflection of Courtney Walsh, where he couldn't understand why the West Indies were playing in Canberra with 4 sweaters on, to then play their next game in Brisbane, which was entirely, like a different part of the world, basically, in terms of weather. So I thought, well, why are we playing our practice matches in Perth unless it's just because it's closer to the UK? Why don't we play our last practice matches in Queensland, up north? Because I had some knowledge of Queensland, because Tom had played for Queensland for a short period of time.
You did.
And I can remember the reaction of the Australians was a quizzical one. Why do you want to go and play up there? So, well, we just like to get used to the humidity and things like that. I know you use it. That's why your record in Brisbane is pretty good. Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the curiosities of Australia that in the depths of winter, for most of us, they're having a cricket season in Darwin, because in the winter it's 30 to 35 degrees every day. Perfect climate for not perfect for cricket, but certainly warm. And
is that dry heat, Jim, as well? Is that did they have any rainfall in that period of time or not?
Oh, they can. Yeah. It's tropical. Yeah, it's way up near the equator, so you get like Queensland, you get serious rain every now and then. Yeah.
No, I've never seen that. My quote from as a young person from my aunt, Tom's wife, was that in Queensland everything's bigger. Like the recollections of spiders, snakes, hailstorms, everything. So
yeah, well, we're famous for having these crustaceans and the rest of it at various towns, cities around Australia. We've got the big prawn, we've got the big lobster. What else have we got, Norman? We got
the big banana, of course, as well.
Big banana, yeah, that's the famous one. Yeah. So we've got a lot of big things. Yeah.
The big, I think we've got those Tamworth's got the biggest guitar or whatever it is, and we've got almost everything.
The music festival has the biggest guitar.
No, is that centre of country and western, Tamworth?
It is.
Yeah,
it's the epicenter.
Music.
That's where we played our first game, and against. Well, I think it must have been a select 11. McGill played in it. I know that. So
yeah. I think they've played a Sheffield Shield game thereabouts. Certainly at Lismore. Over the years, they've moved a few games around because they've had to. That's one of the venues. Yes. So where are we going, Norman? We're just happily chatting.
Okay, well, I'll let you guys talk for a while for starters.
Yeah, you want to talk about
it was good for you to get a few discussions going, and people love that. The big push, of course, is this is day 4 of the Test match between India and England. India have certainly improved their situation greatly by only being 139 runs behind, having lost 2 wickets, with Pujara on 91 and, of course, Kohli on 45. These two have certainly resurrected the Indian batting lineup somewhat, and if they continue, the big danger is, of course, the first hour of play, where unfortunately Kohli's notorious for getting out at this stage in his 40s. Pujara hasn't had 100 for a long time. There's a lot of personal pressure on them both to succeed. What's your take on this day, both of you, David and Jim?
Go on, David.
David.
Well, I spoke to Norman before, Jim, that the Indians had to, I think, show a bit of spirit and fight, not just fall over, which they've done, which is really good. They now have I think, a really clear objective. They will gain from having to keep England in the field for as long as they possibly can, because the next Test match is on Thursday. So, the gap between isn't that great. The weather forecast is a bit bizarre in the UK, where it appears to be cloudy, even though it's supposed to be under high pressure. But I think it's going to get a little bit warmer. That might make it swing a bit more. I didn't quite understand the lack of use of Moeen Ali yesterday, because he has the potential, as he showed. He has bowls, wicket-taking balls. He ripped one straight through Kohli late on in the day, and I think he has the way that I've said to Noel, not that Virat Kohli is a world-class player, but when he's not playing very well, Jim, he does lunge at the ball quite a lot, and Moeen Ali, it does spin it, and he can bowl wicket-taking balls. So you just feel that they're just one ball away of making a massive breakthrough, and then it could be a bit like a stack of cards. But in the other way, they could see out the new ball and still score runs, because the scoring runs is the key thing. As long as that gap keeps getting closed, and it's a long way down the road. At the present stage, England.
Oops, we lost him. He'll come back in a short while. No, but it's great to have David, Jim. He's incredibly generous with his time. His knowledge is immense. He's still we should ask him, he's heavily involved in the scouting as we speak. And he had very high recommendations for Marcus Harris as well. And he's batting currently over in England. And he suggested, and we'll ask him about that, he suggested having Marcus Harris bat 3 for Australia and have Labuschagne at 5, which I thought was very interesting.
Well, he might be opening the way things are going. Yeah.
Well, that's true, but imagine having, say, his side. Obviously, he's in that selection mode. He sees Marcus Harris at 3 with Pekoski and obviously the likes of Warner opening. He still talks about Khawaja very strongly, and he then pushes through to having Smith at second drop, followed by Labuschagne. Now, I find that interesting. I find that a rather impressive makeup of the actual lineup, and that's what he talked about. So. David was very excited to talk to you, by the way. He made a point of waking up early, and he was all ready to go. So he'll be back on a minute. He sometimes loses He's in a part of England. I think he's not very far from. He wasn't very far from Trent Bridge. I think is where he lives. He's just like you, David. He follows cricket very closely. His opinion of the 100 is they're very. All the English are talking up the 100, whether they're Test tragics or not. They are talking up the 100, which I think is fair enough. I'm not as excited about it, to be very honest, but that's just my opinion. I found it just another form of T20 cricket, really.
Well, that's all it is. The 100 is going to work. Well, then something else isn't. So there he is. He's back again.
Had to change equipment. Sorry, chaps.
That's all right.
That's all right, David.
We were just rattling on in your absence about a variety of things, but yes, I think you're right. The game is far from saved from India's viewpoint. Could all be over in a couple of hours if the new ball strikes. But the Pant factor could be interesting, David, if he gets in.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. No, I don't.
Small ground. I mean, it is a small, fast-scoring ground if you get in.
Well, I was saying to Norman, if history shows that actually somebody gets in, and dare I say it, the two left-handers that I can think of, one is Stokes and the other one's Butcher, scored. Alan Butcher played, sorry, Mark Butcher, not his dad. Yeah. played an innings that he never played again. It was just an extraordinary innings. Because I was saying to Norman, I drove in on that morning, and the game would have been done and dusted had it not rained all Saturday, and he couldn't bowl a ball. So Gilchrist, being Gilchrist, said, right, well, we'll set up a game. You know, we're going to win the Ashes anyway. And I walked in to see Gillespie hit Trescothick on the head within the first 5 or 10 minutes. And then one goes straight along the ground. And then he got him out. And I thought, well, this isn't going to last until lunchtime. And then sun came out and it just went flat. And as you're right, you can score fast on that ground.
Oh, yeah.
But it is, well, actually, because in England, Jim, you'll know as well as I do, the squares are used and they cover basically the whole of the ground. Whereas if you're looking about Australia, they just drop wickets in left, right, and centre, and it isn't quite the same. Let's put it like that. But it is a fast scoring ground. But they've got so far to go that you know, we could have a conversation after an hour and a half and thinking, what are we going to do for the rest of the game? I hope it's not like that, because I think that having been in this position, probably more as a player, Jim, than actually as a selector playing Australia most of the time, is that, you know, you've just got to try and live off scraps. And it might seem a bit odd, but if you get some of the batsmen to feel better about themselves before they go into the next game, regardless of the result, that is something to be gained from doing that. Because they are light. They're light in batting on paper. They need their top four to score some runs and not be 2 for 2 or 30 for 4 or whatever, which is all the risk you have when you're playing in England, unfortunately.
Well, that's why I thought for a long while that Test cricket in England is the best Test cricket in the world, because the bowlers are never, as a rule, out of the game.
No.
Playing Test cricket there, and that's what makes the contest so much more enjoyable to watch. Whereas, unfortunately, in Australia, a number of our pitches have become pretty moribund, and we tend to have a few more boring games. Although the way cricket's played these days, probably doesn't matter what surface you're playing on. Everyone's having a crack, aren't they? Trying to keep the game moving. They're not just sitting back and waiting as perhaps they did many years ago. So I just love the cricket in England, as long as the weather's good. Because
that is a bit of a problem, Jim.
Yes, always a bit of variable bounce and a bit of spin. So the game has lovely fluctuations.
Well, that was the thing. I know it does seem when Norman told me that you were coming on, it doesn't seem 16 years ago that we were sitting in the Danubius Hotel across from Lord's having a cup of coffee, but that is the period of time. But even in that series, it wasn't really affected by weather that much, was it, Jim? So that's really, you know, we managed to get bad light involved in the Oval when we were on our knees at one stage, which did help.
Yes, that you reminded me another story. I used to walk down from the Dolphin Square Apartments for that Test match each day. And Billy Bowden and whoever else was umpiring that last Test at the Oval.
Rudy, the slow draw Kurtzen.
Yeah, it might have been Rudy, that's right. The slow draw, yes. Anyway, I was walking down there about day 3 with Billy. As you know, Billy's got a slight ego. And I said to him as we were walking along, just to get things moving, I said, so yesterday, what did you think, Billy? Out of 10, how many would you give yourself? And it's all, I don't know, 7 out of 10. I said, and we walked along a bit further. I said, well, it might be a bit of a high mark. You actually fucked up, excuse my French. I said, did I? What did I do? He said, you gave Warney a 5-ball over. I said, you're kidding. I said, no, go and have a look. You gave him a 5-ball over and walked on a little bit further. And he wasn't very happy about this revelation. I said, well, don't worry. Because at Edgbaston, you gave him a 7-baller, so you're square now.
He's actually, Jim, he's got something to own up for, because if you remember how the Test match ended, which was a bit of an anticlimax with them just coming out, and he's never given the bails back. He's still got the bails.
Oh, you souvenired them, did you, the bugger?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know when that's going to appear on eBay. So.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, that's theft, I would have thought.
Well, he could burn them and put them in some sort of
Turn them into
utensil.
Yeah.
Stick them in a
Now,
urn.
there's a stat here that I just wanted to bring up, guys. Barama Rani, who's part of our show, said that Jimmy Anderson's second innings stats are shocking. First innings he averages 17, the second innings is anywhere up to 67. That's a pretty dramatic.
He's getting old.
Yeah.
I think to use the word shocking is a bit harsh, as Jim said.
Yeah.
With the bloke who's in the autumn of his career and eventually sets up winning positions with the first time he bowls.
No, that's true. It's very true. But do you see? I know this is a bit too far forward thinking. Is there any opportunity here that India could make a similar finish to the way they did in Lords? Is that at all in your thoughts that they could recover today, be 150 or thereabouts in front?
It's not impossible, Norman, but you need to ask the question this time tomorrow, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The game could still be over today in 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we're getting ahead of ourselves a bit. But, yeah, I think of Eden Gardens in 2001 and what happened there. But they don't have Ashwin to bowl in the last innings, so they might miss him if they get 150 in front. But anyway, that's miles away.
Oh, it is.
That was the test match you mentioned there, Jim, is one of the best I've ever seen in terms of, because Peter Willey was the umpire in that match. He
was, yeah,
and they always I think maybe sweeping to stomach that the umpires like to be paid the same amount, but about half time if they don't have to work that much. And I think the game was at one stage when Australia were dominating, they basically needed to take one wicket the following morning, and they would be into the tail with a second new ball. And he, knowing Pete, was saying, "Well, this will be all over by lunchtime. Pack our bags and off we go." Obviously, it wasn't, because then the world witnessed one of the greatest innings, I think, of playing Shane Warne bowling round the wickets, and VVS Laxman being able to hit him out of the rough in the manner that he did was just, well, you can get every batsman in the world trying to do it, and they won't be able to do that. So it was an extraordinary test match. Not to dwell on Australian defeats, Jim, because I know you don't like talking about those. So.
Well, you know, some of the best games of Test cricket, David, and I like to think about it more as I get older. I mean, it's about enjoying the game, and the result doesn't matter that much. And in fact, a lot of the best games I've seen, Australia have lost by a skinny margin. We've lost a lot of tests by a very skinny margin. We haven't won many of the close ones. You know, I think of that game in Adelaide. We lost by one run when May and McDermott were trying to win the game. And there was a game in Pakistan we lost by 1 wicket. Many years ago, there was the game in Antigua when India got over 400 in the final innings and won by 3 wickets. The game in Barbados in 1999, Lara got 100. They won by 1 wicket. So there are a lot of games that we've lost squeakily, including Edgbaston in 2005, of course. Yeah.
Well, and a few others from that series. You can take Edgbaston and Trent Bridge, because Trent Bridge could have easily gone the other way, Jim. Because
if Ponting had said, forget Kasparovich with a new ball and just given the ball to Warne straight away, who knows what would have happened? Yeah. Because
I mean, I'm surprised you haven't talked more of that 2005 effort, David. That was amazing. The way that they Australia did fight back, but they still lost to them. What a gripping match that was. That was fantastic.
Well, I can remember. I don't know, Jim would have been at the other end of the ground because that's where the press box was. But I was sitting with my wife on Sunday morning, and Simon Jones was just standing in front of us, and so the match started off, and I was looking at a pocket of yellow, which was, I think, Merv Hughes's sort of supporters group. Which were, and the whole ground was full. All right, so people have come for this final act and whatever, and as time passed, the crowd got quieter and quieter and quieter. The group of the yellow got louder and louder, and it was the boundaries. The boundaries at Birmingham are really short, so it was a chance for Simon Jones, but it was quite a difficult chance because the ball went to him really quickly.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he shelled the chance, and I turned to my wife then and said, "I think we need to get the yellow pages out, which is advertising jobs, Norman, because if we lose this, we're definitely out of a job." So, and then Steve Harmison, and I don't know. Well, Jim wouldn't know because he was at the end of the ground. The vision from the dressing rooms is quite limited. So when I can't think, I think Cass. No, it wasn't.
I was at your end of the ground because the broadcast.
All right.
Is that end? Yeah.
Right. So when Lee, so it started off, Norman, the toss situation. So I'm standing next to Trescothick, and the guy in the middle, like Mark Nicholas, goes to Ricky Ponting. So Mark has got one pad on and is about to take it off because he's assuming that Australia will bat, having won the toss, which they duly didn't. So he was rather surprised and put on his other pad. And that was followed by a racket in the room next door, which was the Australian dressing room, with some of them gone absolutely apoplectic at that decision, including Shane Warne. So that shows the proximity of the dressing rooms. But the vision is quite limited. So when Brett Lee smashed it out to the cover boundary, the Australian dressing room thought that was the winning shot. Yeah. But actually, when in that series, they developed that position of like a sort of cover on the boundary rather than a third man, because I thought that would cover more area. So it was only a single. So then it meant that Harmison was bowling to Kastrovic. And Jim, your knowledge of the rules and Norman's would be the same. That still wasn't out as a dismissal, was it? Because he didn't have his hand on the handle.
Well, it didn't, but DRS would have destroyed one of the great finishes of.
I know.
So Anyway, as I said to Norm the other day, McGrath treading on a football in the warm-ups is one of the greatest moments in Ashes history. Because after so many years of Australia strangling England in Test cricket, all of a sudden we had a contest, a series, and we haven't looked back really. I can remember walking onto the ground, and I'm not sure why I was there, but I received a text from my wife saying that you need to go out into the middle because there seems to be a bit of a fracas on the Australian side because they practice on either side of the wicket. So it sadly, because you don't want to prosper by suddenly being injured. Well, I say that, but in fact, subconsciously we did. And our lot had stopped practicing. And if you wanted to see a group who wanted to do a lot of high fives as McGrath was being wheeled off the pitch, that was the team that would have wanted to do it. But fortunately, they didn't do it. But it was a huge, huge break in the game, as was Shane Warne dropping. No catches, absolutely dead cert, but that was as easy a catch as you can get at slip, dropping Peterson before lunch. Yeah, true. Yes, the moments in the game. Anyway,
David, I wanted to get Jim also to hear your point of view about. I mentioned it briefly to Jim about the Australian team potentially for the Ashes. Your take on Marcus Harris?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know that. And this is watching from afar, Jim. So excuse me if I'm being inaccurate.
You're seeing more of Australians playing cricket than we are. So you're in a good position to comment.
Yeah. So I've obviously seen the number of times that Joe Burns comes in and out of the team over the last few years, so it seemed to be a situation of trying to solve. And I think that see what happened to England. Trying to resolve who is the first three, particularly in England in terms of facing the Duke ball. But Harris has done really well. He's not just got 50s or 60s; he's got some big hundreds. So I was asking Norman where does he feature in the lineup because he seems to what footage now you can watch every single ball from every single match in the UK. I'm sure Australia's the same. That actually you can have a fair idea of people's techniques, and it looks to be pretty well organised, as Australians are as players. So I was just asking Norman, where does he feature, given, I assume Warner still is persevering with Warner. He was probably looking forward to playing a match without Stuart Broad being in it. So see how he prospers in that way. But I was saying to Norman that where is Smith? Labuschagne is obviously inadvertently tripped over a really good player, because he wouldn't have been involved if Smith hadn't been hit on the head, or he would have been involved a bit later on.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty steady scorer. I think as it happens, a young man like Green is actually the man in the middle, as like Stokes is for the English team. It balances the team, and Green appears to be that type of bloke who would be able to do that, because he also is a pretty prolific batsman. I know they're trying to look after his bowling, but as we've talked about, Norman and I and other people, that the game has shifted to a 5-man attack as opposed to a 4-man attack. If you've got a 4-man attack, Jim, you've got to have 3 blokes who are world-class bowlers. And then, all right, when you had Warne, McGrath, or anybody you like to choose, assuming you keep them fit, but Warne was such a match winner, but also a defensive bowler when things weren't going very well. He had to bowl a lot more overs in 2005 than he should have done, because of the way that we were attacking the other seamers. So.
And then McGrath not playing a couple of games too.
Oh well, yeah, that was a huge thing, because that's in the second Test match. So.
Warne took 40 wickets in the series.
Yeah,
and that doesn't happen to the losing team. Although it happened in '81 too, when Terry Alderman took 41 wickets. But there we go. Yes.
How many Test matches have you actually commentated on, Jim? Because it was I saw a stat from many years ago. It was around 200 plus. But what is it now? Do you have an actual figure how many Test matches you've been on the commentary?
300 and something. I can't remember now. We don't play Test cricket anymore. We only play white ball cricket. We haven't played a Test match since India was here. England.
Well, I said to Norman that actually, when they started this series, the match referee should have gone into both dressing rooms and said, "Chaps, this is a red ball. This is actually what you're playing with." Because you haven't seen anyone for months. So.
Well, our blokes wouldn't know what one looked like, and they won't know what it looks like until they come back from the T20 in Doha or wherever they're going to play up there, Dubai, and they get back, and they'll probably have to go into quarantine before the Ashes. I mean, they won't be here. Well, we're supposed to start the Sheffield Shield in September, but that probably won't happen. Now they're now talking about club cricket in Sydney, at any rate. It's probably the same in the rest of the country. Not even starting until January. So there's a lot of balls, as it were, in the air in this country in regards to when the cricket season will actually start here.
So would they play the Sheffield? Didn't they not play it in one venue last year, Jim, or not?
In Adelaide, yeah. They started. Yeah. They had everyone playing there. It was much easier to manage having everyone in one place.
And would they contemplate doing the same thing or not? Or is it the situation a bit more serious now?
Well, they planned to have it, everywhere originally, but as we move closer to the actual commencement, I don't know how they can manage it with our various border restrictions and the rest. I mean, as I said to Norman the other night, if you live in Sydney, you've got more chance of flying to London or New York than going to Perth.
Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I did notice actually that with Sydney, people don't like people in Western Australia anyway. So,
I think it's more the other way, to be honest.
Right.
Western Australia are regarded as the secessionists, and you need to understand the history of that. They actually tried to secede from the Commonwealth in 1930. They had a vote, and they voted to secede in the 30s, but they had to get the approval of the Privy Council in England and the federal Parliament, and they didn't get that. But
Right.
that's where the history of that comes from, apart from the tyranny of distance and everything else. And they now, of course, claim that, well, they don't need anyone else. They've got all that stuff in the ground over there with Twiggy Forest and Fortescue Mining. They can run their own show. And that's where
Jim, the way that they're talking, are they all originate from Yorkshire? Because that sounds about the same attitude as Yorkshire people. And
yes.
we've often been trying to float them into the North Sea on their own. So.
I saw Bumble's thing last night. He did a 4-minute. Did you see that thing on Sky of him wandering around drinking?
Oh yeah, having a cup of tea. Yeah.
Everything's the best. You know, we've got the best, this, that, and the other in Yorkshire, which sounds like Jeffrey Boycott all over again, I must say.
Yes. Very much so.
It was good. It was a good flavour.
Look, can you imagine if Western Australia did separate from Australia in that manner? We'd have mass exodus of cricketers going from WA to the East Coast to play cricket. I'm sure they wouldn't necessarily want to stay there because they would have not a lot of teeth in their performances left on their own. Let's put it that way.
I noticed actually, talking of Headingley and Leeds, Josh Inglis was born in Leeds. I don't know when he came to Australia, but he's actually born in Leeds. And he's in this Australian team that's going off to the T20 World Cup. And he's been playing some pretty good cricket over there in England for whoever.
Who's that, Jim?
Josh Inglis, the West Australian.
No, he is. Yeah, Norman was basically indicating if there's a change in the wicketkeeper, he might be the next one in line.
He could. Yeah, well, he's gone past Alex Carey, who was looked upon as the next golden boy. He shoved him out of the T20 side. So, he might be the successor to Payne even when that happens. Yeah.
No, he's got some runs in our cricket, Jim. So he's doing all right.
He whacks it, yeah. Good player. But he was born in Leeds, so I don't know where England lost him.
We actually, I would have to say, is one area where we have a lot of people who can keep wicket. We tend to be fielding teams with 4 wicket keepers on the park at the same time.
But you don't pick your best wicket keeper, isn't Folkes the best wicket keeper?
If you took away the batting bit, yeah, I would say that he is.
He's got a better first class average than Butler.
He plays at the Oval, Jim. Blimey.
Well,
No.
he's a better wicket keeper. You can't tell me Butler's a good wicket keeper. Goodness gracious. Keeping to Moeen Ali is awful. It's almost as bad as Pants.
Well, it is a moot point because if it was judged on pure wicket keeping, then Bob Taylor would probably played instead of Alan Knott, though that would be a bit of a marginal call in terms of
John
wicket
Murray
keeping.
would have played more instead of Jim Parks.
Yeah, John Murray and person I played with, Jack Russell, definitely would have played more instead of Alex Stewart. So
yeah, but England have always gone for this business of having a bloke who can bat, and he's not bad with the gauntlets on, but he's not great.
No, it's always well. In my tenure, Jim, it took a lot of hours to discuss who was going to keep wicket because Alec privately wanted to open the batting and not keep wicket at all, which slightly unbalanced the team to a degree. But because he got a couple of hundreds in the West Indies when he was playing with his white hat on, and he didn't keep in that, and Jack Russell kept there, so he wanted to do the same.
Well, yeah.
I had to tell him that in the interest of the team as a whole, you're going to have to keep wicket, and you're going to have to back down the order. So.
Yes, well, you need more all-rounders to cover it, so you can pick the best wicket keeper.
Well, it's the failing of the fast bowlers who can't bat, isn't it? Really. So.
Yes, you've had a few of those. So have we.
But I mean, Adam Gilchrist changed all of that, of course, both in Australia and worldwide, made that a preference to be a batting all-rounder as a keeper almost, and even.
Well, he changed it, Norman, to being a game changer. Because if you didn't get him out, you lose the game. Because he just changed it wasn't. And Pant is a little bit that way.
Pant's capable of that. We've already seen that on a few occasions. Yeah, I mean, it might be happening again tonight. We will
But what do
see.
you take on Punt's batting performances, Jim, over the last couple, where he's gone almost from first ball and played a rather in between shot to get out? He wasn't really committed to playing as wildly as he normally does. He seemed to play a half shot to that ball that he nicked to the keeper of previous innings. What's your take on that?
Oh, well, everyone can make a mistake, can't they? Error of judgment. I mean, he's going to attack, so he's going to give you a chance. That's the way he plays. So sometimes his judgment's a bit awry, I suppose, but he's just so dangerous because even his miss hits can go for 4. A bit like when both of them got wound up. But yeah, he's a very dangerous player, but he's not Superman. He's going to get out.
No.
Every now and then. Risks. Sorry, yeah, takes risks. Yes, a lot of risks.
It looks like Jim halfway.
He premeditates too, doesn't he, David?
Yeah.
So,
He does.
Yeah.
It looks as like halfway down his backswing, Jim. He's thinking maybe I shouldn't be doing this. So and I think somebody needs to in the dressing room say, regardless of the situation, just play the way you play, because that'll cause enough problems.
Be free.
Because he's a young man. He'll learn that actually he'll have to have a better, if he wants to spend more time in the middle rather than the thing. But his main asset is to play the way he plays, because you only need an hour of him. Then, I'm not saying it's going to change this match, but can make sides think twice about how they. Well, the series, a fantastic series that India played against Australia. It was. I know we keep talking about losses. It's not on purpose, Jim, but it was very, very good viewing. I must admit that series of.
It was fantastic. Absolutely.
Of what India could do without Kohli being in the team. What they could do without having had a sort of historic defeat, because it was on a wicket that didn't seem to do anything that much to get bowled out for 36 and then come back from that. It was fantastic cricket.
It was amazing. Yes.
Do you think there's any merit in having Jadeja and Punt swap batting positions in the order? There's been a lot of discussion about perhaps Jadeja going one up.
No.
Don't think there's.
No.
Okay.
For me, all it does.
When they bat together, that's when you got to look out. Yeah.
Yeah. I think if you did that, Norman, all it would do was sow seeds of doubts in the two guys. Why are they changing us around? It's we're not going to suddenly play differently. We're just got to do it better.
Yeah.
Or I think the quote. I don't know if you've been watching the Lions, Jim. I don't know whether you follow rugby union.
I do, and I was following them, and I was hoping that the rugby would be more attractive. It was pretty awful, most of them, the rugby played in that series, I thought, when you compared to what we're used to seeing when Australia plays with or against New Zealand.
No, I know. We had one half of rugby that went on for an hour, Norman, because they kept stopping the game all the time. That's what the South Africans wanted to do, was to make it a stop-start fixtures. But
stop-start penalty goal match. I mean, it's crap.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You want to have ball in hand. That's why the All Blacks are so good to watch. Because when they display their skills, catch, run, pass, it's just the best rugby in the world. It's just amazing.
But they didn't come out. I don't know whether you heard the quote, Jeff. Sorry, no.
Go.
I was saying that the quote in the commentary, I think it might have been a quote of Gatland's to say, people talk about plan B or plan A and whatever. And Gatland said, when it doesn't work, instead of having a plan B, you just do plan A better than you did before. Because that was just the way that you've got to play. And I think he was right, actually. So.
Yeah.
All right, just a quick question about this Jarvo character that's come on the field now twice. It was certainly amusing the first time, but I think the second time he went a bit too far. He actually took centre wicket and actually was on the pitch, and the security guards were wrestling with him right next to the stumps. So I think that's gone a bit too far now. I think it was amusing when he first ran on the field. Okay, we got away with that. The second time he's gone, as I said, fully equipped with bat in hand, took the centre wicket, was right next to the stumps, and put up a bit of a fight. What do you guys think of that?
Well, they're going to have I think Australia have dealt with people invading the pitch better than anybody else, because actually the penalty for coming onto the pitch in Australia are massive. I think people will think twice about doing it. And yeah, they're playing on a ground where somebody dug up the pitch and ended the Test match many years ago. So
1975. Yeah, that's right.
The Western Terrace is something to deal with, Norman. Let's put it like that. So.
But how on earth did this guy get back into the ground after what happened at Lord's? Surely, if they were doing their job, they would have made sure he never got entry into the ground.
For some time to come, Jim, as well. So,
yeah.
Well, he had the whites on. He had a cricket bat. He had pads. He had the helmet. You'd have to wonder how he brought it out of the ground without being checked in some format.
Well, it was that famous guy who used to do this trick everywhere, didn't he? I can't remember his name now, but didn't he do it at Headingley? He went down to the men's loo and he got all dressed up with the pads, bat, and everything else. And when a wicket fell, he came out onto the ground ahead of the next man in. He made an entry and then quietly peeled off, but no one picked it up for a while. And he used to do this at rugby union matches, tennis tournaments, everywhere. He made a point of making an entry, but he did it in a harmless way. But again,
it's just the same guy, Jim, who tried to join in team pictures.
That's
right. So they sidle in from the right-hand side
that guy,
and stick himself on the, it's still not the right thing to do. But Jim's right. It was done in quite a harmless way, really. So.
It was harmless.
Yeah.
But harmless is a serial offender. As if he'd had his mates or whatever put him up to it. This is the bet. You've got to go and do put a show on at Wimbledon, the British Open, a cricket test match, a rugby test match at Wembley, and he managed to knock off a lot of big events. He did it very well.
It does show the lack of security, Jim.
Here you get whacked for a $6,147.50 fine if you go onto the arena. They don't muck around. Or the famous one, when the streaker ran on at the SCG some years ago, and Andrew Simons was batting. Do you remember that? And Andrew Simons gave him a stiff arm like he'd been running with a rugby league team for the Broncos. He absolutely poleaxed him, and I think that would have deterred that man, apart from the fine, from appearing again. It was very funny.
What is the fine, David, in England? What is the fine when you enter the field?
I don't know. I don't know what
but
it is.
It's not substantial.
Well, I think, obviously, it'd be a debatable point. Yeah. If we had an Andrew Simons type incident, you can imagine sort of somebody would take it up as a legal case and say that assault or something like that. So.
Yes, well, that was happened to Greg Chappell in New Zealand when he hit someone on the backside with his bat, and the bloke took him to court, but it was all dropped, but for assault. Yeah. That's what can happen.
Obviously, it's a different world we live in, because the guy who rugby tackled Terry Alderman, that should be assault in the modern world, isn't it?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, definitely.
It works both ways, of course.
He was a pom too, that bloke. He was a pom.
Was he? Well, that explains it, Jim. Anyways.
I mean, the worst case of any of that happening was, of course, during a tennis match when I can't remember her name offhand. Monica Seles was actually knifed in the back.
Yeah.
That was very serious. And that's concerning to me. Yeah, that would happen in a cricket match.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't. Well, fingers crossed. We still have this sort of, and Jim would have witnessed it, Norman, you would have witnessed it, this really, it's not archaic, it's something quite quaint about it, is that people come to Lord's and put all their belongings on a piece of lawn in the Harris Gardens or adjoining gardens, and then walk off and go and watch the cricket, assuming that nobody was going to take their bag, and nobody does take the bags. They just sit there. They come back for lunch, glass of champagne, and very English.
Very similar. Well, you can take if you're a member at Lord's, you can take your own wine, can't you, into the ground?
Yeah, bottle. Yeah.
I think that's very civilized. Yeah.
Well, it must be civilized, Jim, because and that's, somebody was explaining to me that it wasn't actually a bottle in at the SCG. It was really a water bottle. I was asking why is everything small? Because people have been throwing the bigger bottles from sort of tiers above onto people below, and actually that's still quite a weapon. It doesn't matter whether it's a plastic bottle or not. So.
Yes, I remember Michael Bevan got hit at Lords with a can, a full
Yeah.
can. Yeah, after one of the one days.
Well, it takes one, and the one thing that Australia have done really well, and you'll probably say that this is that they seem to have managed to present the Big Bash as a non-alcoholic event. So in order to attract wives and families, so that's what the 100 ball game was about, Jim, was to try and get a family environment, and even that didn't quite work. And as far as there was still alcohol and sell, and in the Big Bash, do they still sell alcohol, or people can get a drink during the game, or not? Or
They
they
do.
I think you can, yeah, but I think there are also family areas, aren't there, where
There are.
alcohol is not served. So
There's non-alcoholic zones where you can buy ticketing.
Yeah, well, they've now got to revisit that because they obviously haven't got enough. Because people are thinking, well, we go to 100 ball game. This is like a T20 on a Friday night. We get absolutely smashed out of our heads.
Yeah.
And some grounds you just wouldn't take your family. You know, Friday night at Chelmsford, even the opposition fielders are putting their lives at risk in terms of, they don't get too close to the boundary edge, said the least. So,
well,
but it's the 100 ball game has worked well, Jim. Actually, I would have to say, and what it has done is to promote the women's game.
It's done a lot for women's cricket, hasn't it? Yes, that's true. But how do you fit everything in? I mean, the ECB should be paying bonuses to someone who comes up with a season format that covers all competitions, and I think at the moment that's impossible, isn't it?
I don't know if you have you ever met Alan Fordham, Jim, who used to play for Northampton.
I haven't.
Right. Well, he's a guy that I've known for all my playing career and beyond. It's his job to work out the fixtures in the UK. That was before the 100 ball game.
Yeah.
And I would have to say, having seen him, sadly, he and I tend to go to a lot more, as I'm sure we all do, a lot more funerals than we should be going to. And this was for David Capel, who used to play for Northampton, England.
Yeah, that was very sad.
And I'd have to say that Forders has aged a lot because of this is definitely round pegs and square holes, or whatever the terminology is. It's difficult to do because Norman said about how do we change the batting order, or are there any other options outside who's playing that? I mean, I said to Norman that combination of bringing blokes into the bubble. Let's say they went to the Oval and it was going to spin like a top, which it probably isn't going to do. Let's say it was. Jack Leach has not bowled a ball in anger for God knows how long, because he's had to medically be in the bubble for several weeks. And you can have as many nets as you like. There's nothing that replaces match practice, and that would be the same for a little bit for Ashwin as well. So. I think for people to do their best in a test match, which it's still, in my way, it's the ultimate cricket to play, that actually you're selecting people who are not in the best form to show their ability, which is sad. They're not going to decline, but no one was asking me who are the options that England have, and I said, well, I reeled off a couple of names, but that's only based on white ball cricket. They haven't been playing red ball cricket, so there's
no form on the board, is there? There's absolutely no form.
Australia have the same thing. They've got some questions to ask at the top of their batting order, but on what evidence are they going to resolve them? So they'll have to go back to the devil which is people who've played before, I would imagine.
Yeah, we have the same issue if we're playing test matches beyond beginning of January, which is happening more as it did last year, there are a number of players who are not playing BBL who can't play cricket anyway. They could probably play in their backyard, but there's no club cricket for them to go back to at that time of the year, so they're stranded. All they've got is the nets. They can't play any cricket at all.
So that's the West Indies system, isn't it, Jim? Didn't they finish their domestic season on one side of Christmas and then play test matches in January, February, and March? When there's no domestic cricket going on.
Yeah, but they're a bit like India, aren't they? They can play cricket any time of the year.
Yeah.
There aren't too many months when they can't, and that's how India have managed to work it. So the Ranji trophies in a hole here, and the IPL's there, and all the other cricket sort of works around it. I mean, the Indian players never give me the impression that they're missing out on playing enough cricket to get them prepared, other than the New Zealand one-off they played earlier in the year when they were obviously underprepared for that game. But it's an issue, and I don't know how you're going to resolve it. One of your competitions has got to die, hasn't it, for the 100 to continue?
Well, they're now suggesting that this is only a suggestion in the paper, Jim, so you have to take it as you find it, is that where the 100 ball game was played, they played the Royal London 50 over tournament, which actually, from my perspective, was really good because it meant that counties had to play some really young players who wouldn't have had a chance to play a higher level of cricket. So in terms of selecting under 19s or the next step to judge people, because the only way you can judge them if they play at a more challenging environment, which that proved to be. I'm not sure the sponsor necessarily would have liked it, but there were some exciting games or whatever. They're suggesting now that the red ball game will be played at the same time as the 100 ball game, because the 100 ball game, because of the world that we're living in, a lot of, quite rightly, the overseas players who'd already agreed to play in the 100 ball game didn't come, like all the Australians, for instance. Yeah. So that meant the domestic players had to play, which was great for them. That would be a window to play more red ball cricket through the summer. That when you're playing test match cricket, that actually you've actually had some practice playing red ball. So I think that's on the table at present. But where the 50 over game goes, I wouldn't have a clue. So
the aren't the counties feeling threatened by this creation? The 100.
I think the financial package, Jim, that was presented on the signing of the 100 ball game. The background to that, you will know as a journalist, the only way that terrestrial TV would be interested, they had to come up with a product that was both men and women, a shorter game, and suddenly the game has now been exposed to a lot of people who hadn't previously watched cricket. Because, all right, we're all fortunate that we can watch cricket on subscription, but that doesn't apply to everybody. So to watching cricket on Sky is an expensive hobby for a lot of households to undertake. So this got it onto terrestrial TV, and actually people enjoyed it because it was a maybe no, it's not an aborted version. I went into it with a reasonably clear mind. Let's just see how it goes, and actually it was pretty good.
Well, if it's bringing a new audience to the game, that's important. I think very important. But it's perhaps more dangerous in your country than ours to put cricket behind a paywall, and that was a big mistake in 2006.
Yeah.
And they managed to convince the politicians in England to take it off the list. That would not happen in Australia, I'm telling you.
No
way it would happen in Australia. It is sacrosanct that everyone should be able to see the Australian team play test cricket on free-to-air television. And I think given that your country's obsessed with a football, a pigskin, most of the year, you need to have cricket out there. So this is a good thing for cricket that the 100 is on at times on free-to-air TV. Yeah.
No, it's been well received, I would have to say.
Yeah.
We
just on another note, guys, just quickly,
Yeah.
but I just want to bring up a couple of the questions here. the cricket 21, as he's called, can Vera play in innings like Ben Stokes for India? Well, anything's possible today. He certainly can. It would be great to see him do that for cricket. I think, especially for Indian cricket, to see Kohli come out with a dramatic, almost match-winning performance. It would be really on the cards, I'd say. So also, this is interesting. Shai Manju says that 51% of non-cricket fans bought a ticket for the 100. That's a pretty substantial number, David.
Yeah. No.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. The press around the 100 ball game has been very, very well managed. Let's put it like that, Norman. So,
absolutely,
they've got the right stats out there. Going back to whether he can play like Ben Stokes.
Yeah.
Sadly, I would have to say that actually, in England, have had their mad 2 hours, which they did at Lord's when they were trying to knock over the tail enders. So I think that's been a chastening experience to them in terms of bowling in a disciplined way.
Yeah.
But Jim is right in highlighting that of all the grounds around the world, this is one of the fastest scoring grounds ever. So,
Bradman got 300 there twice. Bradman and Morris knocked off over 400 in less than a day there. I mean, there's a whole history of quick scoring. Mark Butcher, you mentioned. The list goes on. And Stokes actually, it was a phenomenal innings because on the previous day, in the evening session, he batted with total composure and did not play one expansive shot.
Yeah.
He just set himself up. And of course, things went his way and the rest of it with Leach batting at the other end. But it was the most extraordinary innings. But it ended up being a great calculated attack on the Australian bowling, and they had no response to it. There's very few teams do when a bloke goes like that.
But he did play for all the responsibility, and it was an extraordinary innings, Jim. But the reverse hit was just an extraordinary shot to play when you've only got 1 wicket left. That would just seem to be madness to do that.
6, yes, into the Western Terraces. That was audacious, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just to, as you say, to even think of playing that shot.
Yeah. No, we'll see.
We had our chance. You should have run him out.
Oh, Nathan,
I didn't mention that. That is definitely sort of you wake up in the middle of the night moment, didn't you? Did I actually drop the ball there?
Yep. That was
what happened to Australians. Steve Ward dropped the ball there, didn't he? Well, not he didn't drop it. Herschel Gibbs did.
Herschel Gibbs, yes. Yeah. He threw it up before he had it, and bang, yes. You've just dropped the World Cup. That was a moment. Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of questions here.
How are we going, folks? What is the time?
Well, if you guys have been on for a good hour, guys. If you are looking,
I need to go and do my domestic chores. Actually, Norman. So.
No worries.
I need to go and talk to my wife before she says, "You're not cricket again." Are you?
Well, now that she's got South Sydney fans in her veins, I'm happy if she's a South Sydney supporter. I love her even more now. Tell her I'm a big South supporter.
Good.
And David, you're a South supporter too, aren't you? Yes. Nod your head, David. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Okay. Right.
South Sydney.
Anyway, so Norman, I'll speak to you. And that's Jim. It's been a pleasure to catch up with you after so long.
Lovely to catch up with you too, David. We'll probably be doing it again somewhere along the line. Let's hope that we're still wherever we are in 24 hours talking about this Test match. But
I look forward to
all end up.
I look forward to having a debate around the Ashes that we did a few years ago.
Yeah, that's something that you guys will definitely do.
All right. Cheers, guys. See you later.
Thanks, guys. Anytime, guys. Anytime at all. I've really enjoyed having you there.
All the best.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim.
Bye now.
Take soon. Now, guys, I don't think some of you appreciate what we've just had. We've had Jim Maxwell, as you can see, his books here on the line there, who's had 48 plus years of experience commentating on well over 300 test matches. I think it's probably close to 350 test matches, would you believe? 350 test matches. David Graveney, who's probably been involved with just as many from a selection perspective as well over the years. Two incredibly important and respected gentlemen, having them both. In fact, that's the first time these two gentlemen have actually had a chance to speak together in what is now some 16 years. since the 2005 Ashes there in England, where England won the series in dramatic style. So that David Gravely was the chairman of selectors at that point, and of course Jim Maxwell is who he is, one of the best commentators ever in Test or any form of cricket, mind you, but more so Test cricket. So we've been privileged to have those two on. That hour will be a separate hour special. I'll take that out of today's live, and we'll have that on there. There are many more people that were joining us. I think some of them may have been afraid to actually join. It was a rare moment that I don't even speak very much, to allow Jim Maxwell and David Gravely to have a chat together as they did was beyond anything you could expect. You should be able to see more of those gentlemen when it comes to the Ashes. They're very much on top of things when it comes to Test cricket, of course, as well. And we've got, I think, a partner's about to join us. A partner, Sani, will be joining us very shortly. I'm hoping that we'll get some of the other Indian people that I've got involved. But that was quite a special moment indeed. Did you enjoy that, guys? Some people made some comments that it was a bit dry, but I tell you what, that is some riveting viewing, that is, to me, because they both are extremely relevant to the game of cricket. They both have a... David Gravely still has a selection involvement and talked very highly about Marcus Harris and Josh Inglis, both who are in the Australian mix for the next Ashes series. And Josh Inglis is also there for the World Cup, a keeper that is from WA, Western Australia. Now, back to the cricket here for India. India are clearly in a good situation. Not yet out of the woods, so to speak. They still have to knock off another 139. Let's be honest. If Jimmy Anderson gets his act together this morning with a new ball when it comes due, which is due now, effectively, they could well take a few wickets and India could be in a lot of trouble. Let's hope that's not the case. Let's hope that India bat through this period. It's extremely crucial for both Pujara and Kohli to get through the first, let's say, hour. And if they do, we could have quite massive totals. You could well see Kohli head into three figures, and you could well see Pujara head into a big daddy 100, as you put it. Those two are imperative to this effort. 139 runs is still a colossus to actually survive. It's still a long way from a victory at this point in time, but they certainly have the ability there to knock those runs off. Now, a lot of the questions have been around, what total do you think India need to make this either safe or comfortable? The reality is it's going to take batting the whole day. We have to bat the whole day today, and that would mean, based on they got 215 yesterday or thereabouts, say 220, they got 220 today. That would put them only, 81 runs in front, which is, again, not necessarily a safe position to be in going day 5, but it certainly puts them in a position where the game will continue. So India, if they replicate what they got yesterday, today, and if they lose only 2 wickets, that means they'll be 4 for 400 odd. And that could see them 80 to 100 runs in front, which is almost identical to the test previously held at Lords, where there were some 100 odd runs in front there as well, 154 as a matter of fact. Imagine if India got themselves into a situation where there were 154 runs in front on the 4th day, that would be, as I said, a mirror image of the 4th day in Lords. And what happened on the 5th day, we know England capitulated to be all out for 120 and India won in a relative canter. Is that possible? Well, it's going to depend squarely on the first session. The Indian batsmen will not look any further ahead. They will not look to the second day, or the 5th day of the play. They're looking at today and the first hour, the first ball, because Pujara and Kohli, despite having done very, very well yesterday, have a job to do. They still have a long way to go. They're basically starting from naught today, and they should approach in that manner and build an innings, whatever totals they pass, they should build an innings as if they were starting from naught. And that's really important, especially with a new ball. It will be virtually like they've lost 2 wickets today. Again, they're virtually 2 for minus 139. So if these two are serious and they get through this period and get anywhere close to knocking off the 139, they're back to 0, and they'll be back to 2 for 0. So it's a very big mountain to climb. And what both David Gravely and Jim Maxwell said very clearly is they didn't necessarily think that was going to happen. They have more of an inkling towards India not even passing the 139, and that would not be an insult, because they would still be scoring 350 plus and not getting into the next innings, which you would hope wouldn't be the case. But look, we don't know at this stage. So I'm going to take more questions while I wait. Aparna's not far away. I know that Gurkrak Dill will be here in about 15 minutes, and we're going to lead into this match starting in 45 minutes' time with a great deal of anticipation. probably the most exciting first session of the Test series, in my opinion, because if these two can take hold of this part of the match and show their wares and bat through the first session without losing wickets and scoring anywhere around the 100 mark, they're virtually putting themselves in a very square position. Arnold Jingle, that's a big negativity. There was just a positioning of where Dave was sitting rather than his ability to talk. They both are great. And there is a history of spinners. Will Moeen Ali be a danger for the batters? He certainly will be, Amaya Moray. I think he'll have more impact on this game than we gave him credit for. I think that, I think it's going to be quite a moment to see him bowl. I think it's the keeping of Butler that was pretty ordinary. And they're not even talking highly of Punt either. Norman, you really are genuine in presenting your views on cricket. With you all, the very success. Thank you, Vamsi Krishna. And that's what we should do. Batting for the whole day is the only solution for India, waiting for Kohli's century. Let's wait for Kohli to get 50 first, then to get 70, to get 80, and then onwards. Let's give him the ability to not think too far ahead and think of that ball and learn to let the ball go and do what Rohit Sharma is doing extremely well as an opener. Rohit Sharma should be thanked for this position because he's 59, albeit not the highest score, is certainly one of the most significant innings we've seen. Rohit Sharma has come of age as a Test player. I'm extremely impressed. He still has the ability to be a great ODI and T20 player, but his Test cricketing prowess, to me, has virtually gone through the roof. Kohli has 7,661 runs at this point in time in 95 Tests. Pujara has 6,429 in 89. These two men have got an immense experience. Some 184 Tests between them, and some 14,000 Test runs between them as well. We are looking at two very powerful players. Joe Root has actually taken 38 wickets. I was a bit shocked at that stat in 108 games. And Moeen Ali, he's taken in 63 Test matches, 192. So that's important to realise. Moeen Ali has played 63 Test matches and taken 192 wickets. He's not quite at Jadeja's level, but he certainly isn't far away. And Moeen Ali can bat as well. So Moeen Ali is a pretty good option there for England. And I think Jack Leach, you'd want to see Moeen Ali play in Australia, but whether that'll be the case, we'll see. First hour from Anderson and Robinson's spell is critical for India. Absolutely. It's with a new ball. And I did think it was interesting. Bahram Irani talked about the stats of Anderson's second innings. He hasn't got great stats second innings, which is encouraging for India. How can a person compress your career twice? What kind of... Yeah, it's not obvious that this Javo guy is there. He's got a bat. He's wearing whites. He's wearing cricket. The camera should have seen him early. As soon as he left the inside of the boundary, they should have picked him up. He got onto the middle of the pitch. He literally took centre. He was right near the stumps. The security were jostling with him at the stumps area. The umpire to step in. That was really bad, because if he would have had any vengeance, he could have hit one of the people over the head with a bat or whatever. It's not what he's all about, but that's not the point. The ease in which he's able to get on the ground is concerning to anyone who watches. Punt, quick century is on the cards. Well, if Punt gets a quick century and these two bat more, this is going to be, with Rahane, we're looking at them getting the 200, well, at least 150 in front at the end of the day. I'm predicting they'll get about 80 in front, 80 to 100 in front, which is still a great position. And they can bat into the fifth day. It takes England's potential to win more and more out of the equation, which would be devastating for England, because don't forget, they were 354 runs in front of the first innings. For them to not win this match is beyond me. But at the moment, they haven't lost it yet. They're certainly in position to win. They still are favourites. England have got India 2 for -139. That's a winning position in most people's books. It's going to take a very, very substantial effort, not unlike yesterday, for India to get out of this one. Again, at this point in time, you have to say England will still win. But we don't know. What do you think the chances are of Pujara hitting a double 100? Let's get him to 100 first. You Indian viewers have to realise that we like to see them get big runs, but perhaps thinking too far ahead takes away from the moment. That Pujara's got to basically get 9 singles if he wishes to get his 100. Let's get him to 100 first. Let's get Kohli to 50 plus. And this will be, in fact, Pujara's 19th Test century, which is amazing. Who'll play the trump card for India? Well, you'd have to think with Pujara and Kohli there now, Right, Harney to follow. They can set the scene beautifully for both Punt and Jadeja to come out and whack towards the end of the day's play. If Punt gets into bat post tee or in and around tee and goes ballistic in the last session when the Indian bowlers are tiring, that could be a significant moment. It's a matter of India getting to that position without losing more than one or so wickets. That's a big ask. If India can not lose a wicket or lose only the one, perhaps two, and have Punt coming in at that stage, it'll be significant. So, I mean, David Gravely talked a bit about, I made the suggestion of putting Jadeja one ahead of Punt to give him a bit more time to play his natural game. And they said it only lead to both batsmen thinking why they've been changed. And that's an interesting thing. I didn't necessarily think of that you could destabilise their mindset more than anything else, as opposed to, so wherever you go on a bat the way you normally do. And that's what I think is key to, very key to the way that Punt bats. He has been very wobbly on a few occasions of late, but we know a day like today when it's ready-made for him to do well, he could do what Adam Gilchrist did beautifully, take the match away from the other side. India now need to reach 435 more runs today. Well, Aaron, they're not going to score 435 runs today. Okay, they're not going to be able to have 296 in front. They will be lucky if everything goes their way to be 80 to 100 runs in front, based on the scoring rates that have gone on so far. 296 is too much. Of course, sledging plays every single day. But at the moment, India in bats, the sledging's a bit on the other foot. Considering the drive, the ball reversed after lunch, I'd say it's going to be a brand new ball start of today's play. So there's going to be two bites of the cherry, the new ball and the older ball. Considering the headline pitch, no excuses for India not batting well. So absolutely. As we heard, David Graveney and Jim Maxwell talk about the fact that this is a ground where people are great and never batted before. Hello, Aparna.
Hello, can you hear me?
I certainly can. Did you witness that? Did you have a little listen to what we had on before?
Yeah. I'm so sorry, and it's unfortunate that I missed. I mean, Jim Maxwell and David, two legends.
I didn't get a word in edgewise. I basically had to keep quiet.
I think that's good to know. I shouldn't have come then.
I basically couldn't even butt in. They were going hammer and tongs with questions to each. They haven't met each other in 16 years.
Oh, wow.
The last time was in 2005 in England for the Ashes, where David Graveney was, of course, the selector, and good old Jim was one of the commentators. So they had a lot to talk about. It was like a never-ending flow of conversation. And Jim occasionally would say, "Norman, what do you want us to talk about?" And I thought, no, keep going. I don't need to even ask a question. It was almost, and when I did ask a question, they both, well, not seriously, but more jokingly, slammed me. They go, "Oh, yeah, so." They basically dismissed me, saying, "All right, we've got your question."
What was the question?
I think I mentioned something about Coley and is he going to bat like Ben Stokes? And because that was one of the questions I was asking. Yeah. And they wanted to push that sentence away. We heard enough from you. We want to talk. It was like two legends talking together. A bit hard for me to get involved in that conversation, but they were great.
Well, I think then I missed for good. Lucky day.
Imagine this, the first time in 16 years they spoke together after knowing each other relatively well. It's quite impressive.
Wow, that's a long time.
So, Aparna, you've either gone to a tropical paradise. Where are you? You're in the backyard somewhere?
I'm still in Sydney. Yeah, this is my backyard. I have a map. I'm traveling the world. So my bedroom, downstairs, my garden is another place. Because we are in lockdown, so where the heck am I going to go?
Well, I know, but it looks like you've gone somewhere tropical. But yeah, I saw a place. There's a YouTube video of a home that's worth $550 million in Bel Air in California. You should see it. I'll send you the link. It is ridiculous. They have it's quite. It makes me sort of imagine I'm somewhere else when I see that. I guess.
I have to interrupt you.
Are you happy with this?
I can see in the comments they were like long lost friends.
They were. The excitement was. I told Jim, David's coming. I told David, Jim's coming, and they both came.
Norman, someday it would be like us. I mean, down the line, probably if we don't get to meet each other, I'm like, oh my God, Norman's coming. for sure. I'm on. Count me in.
Well, I mean,
I
I'll
think
be
we
in a
got
wheelchair.
lost
I'll be in a
in
wheelchair, or I'll
India.
be walking stick.
We got lost in India tour of Australia, and I think we end up on a broadcast without knowing that you going to be there, or you did not know that I would be there. That was a little bit of a glimpse that we might be.
Oh, that was that other cricket.tv. We were on that. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
crazy. He's now got David Gower on his show. Did you see that? He's got a very famous English. He's got a former captain on his show. But look, David Gravely, isn't it superb that these two gentlemen enjoyed coming on? I love that. I mean, Jim's I think he's 71 years of age. David's 68, but they're still right on top of cricket. They know their cricket. Jim has been a commentator on over 350 test matches, ball by ball. Can you imagine that? It's hard to imagine. All right, now we're getting close to it. Well, I've got a half an hour to go. So, what do you think of the match so far?
Well, I was hiding for good. But yesterday, not the sort of a day that England would have wanted. After the 2 days filled with goodness and success for them, I mean, what a comeback for them. So good comeback for England, but I don't know what happened to India. Well, in Adelaide, and then after that, Gaba. I think they're doing a reverse. They did a Gaba, nearly were close enough. Looked like their batting was a big flop, obviously, but yeah, we have to give credit to the England bowlers and batsmen. I mean, 400 something it was. Oh my God! If on day 3, what they did in 15 minutes took the last 2 wickets, if they wouldn't have, I think maybe it was never ending. It was like, what is this? So I'm very disappointed. I mean, there's a huge level of performance has dropped to what we saw at Lord's. But, all credit goes to, who is it? The rock star in England team.
Jimmy Anderson.
No. Another one.
Joe Root.
Exactly. I mean, you have to give the credit to him. I mean, the whole England batting is on his shoulders. What a great player. I mean,
he is.
Virat Kohli should learn and give us, I mean, there's still hopes. Today we might be able to say Virat Kohli century, but he's on 40 something. He has to stay on the pitch for longer, because otherwise there is not going to be any rain in the weather. So when we desperately need the rain for a draw, we might as well not see that. So either the batsmen stay on the crease. It's time for them to prove their caliber, their capability when India needs it the most.
Absolutely. Well said. Well said.
So they might, I mean, even Rohit, he was all right. I mean, he did stay quite long on the crease before he got out. But Pujara and Kohli, Pujara might as well be very close to century. So definitely, fingers crossed, we'll see that. But Kohli could give us his first century of after a long time since COVID, and it is much needed. So they might as well, being a captain, he has to work on his performance as well. He can't just be a captain because he hasn't been performing very great with his bat. So it is very needed, and he should come good this time. So let's see, fingers crossed. I mean, that's the only way there could be some sort of miracle or for a draw. For very optimistic fans out there, they might as well be thinking that it could be another turnaround for a win, but there is another 139 runs just to cover up the lead. So it doesn't look like it.
Isn't it? That is a lot. If they have a big day and they do exactly what they did yesterday, getting the same score today, they would only be 80 or 90 in front, which is still a great position to be in after what's happened. After being behind by 354, to be 80 runs in front is quite a miracle. Doesn't mean they'll win the test match though, but they could also collapse today, or not collapse, but even bat average and still not get past the score and be beaten by an innings. There's a long way to go. These two have to now go as if they're on 0. Even though Colley's on 45 and Pujara's on 91, they have to bat like if they just walked out for the first moment. They need to really dig in there, let balls go, especially with a new ball, get through this period, not play as if they're 45, play as if they're starting. They need to really show some mental strength. And if they get through the first session, well, that's going to be...
It's also about the mentality. I mean, they should forget what happened in the first session. I mean, India was slightly lucky as they played. And, this time they missed quite a few of the balls. And the Indian Pacers really made life tough for India. But after that, this is another day. This is a new session. Just forget about what happened. Because it does weigh heavy on you. And I've always seen with Indian... players that if they haven't performed very well, it's very hard for them to come back. It would be very rare. Indian paces or bowlers has been able to come back, but batsmen has not been able to come back if they have performed terrible in the first session. I mean, I'm not saying on properly with the record, but in the last few matches only. So I don't know what's with the mentality as well. So might as well forget that. New day and a new ball, which is not good. Well, yesterday, because of the light, I mean, that is one lucky thing. Otherwise, we might have lost one more wicket, and which wouldn't have been good for India. It's all about wasting the time now or waiting for God of rain.
Well, rain's not going to happen, I'm sorry, Parna, but they really have the batsmen who can still bat well enough to bat most of the day. Rahane certainly can bat that way, and Punt and Jadeja are still very solid. So they've got 4 or 5 batters both in and about to come that can do this.
Yeah, but India's middle order has been pretty fragile, and the form of Pujara and Virat Kohli has been on everyone's mind, But these two did show everyone why they are, the stalwarts of the Indian team as they raised an unbeaten stand, which is 99 runs yesterday. So there's still hope. Before the light.
Well, Pujara's, I have to be honest, I always thought he would do this. He's too good a batter. He scored 18 Test centuries before. This will be potentially his 19th. The man's a quality. Now, Diraj Pol has said, hello, guys. Who are you? Well, it's a good question. They don't know who we are. My name is Norman Kochnik, and my channel is Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnik. You can see at Norm Koch, which is my Twitter and my Instagram handle, plus Norman Kochnik on both Facebook and on LinkedIn. And I have this YouTube channel, but also I have Aparna Saini, who's at @Saini_20.
Aparna Saini? Yeah, so @Saini_20.
Tell us about that. Is that a new Instagram?
Yes, this is my business account. I was getting a lot of requests on my personal one. So luckily I've
everybody, make sure you get a hold of Aparna Saini on @Saini_20. She's also got her YouTube channel, which is Cricket Conversations with Aparna Saini.
As we are doing right now.
Exactly. Well,
and me and Norman both have worked. Let me give a bit of an intro. Me and Norman both have worked throughout. Norman has done before, but India tour of Australia for channels like ABB News, Sports Duck. Been very fortunate. We've been on Sky News Australia, and now we've got our own channels while we are in lockdown.
Which is an advantage in a way, really.
It has been great. In a very uncomfortable way, but yeah, it has been great. So far, so good.
And Aparna, you obviously have a number of things you're doing. You're at university, you're studying both IT and law. You've got a family that are very prestigious in India. You have a great connection. You're not related to, what's his name again?
Navdeep Saini.
Navdeep Saini, not related to him, although she makes out that she is. Don't believe that. She's not.
Actually,
She's only
I'm
related
not.
to him when
Please
he does
spare
well.
me.
When he does well, Aparna's related to him. When he doesn't do well, she says, who is he? I understand that. It's a typical thing about someone using their name, in the way that they think they can use it. Okay,
no, actually, I never said that he was related to me, but I would definitely say he's not when he's not performing, because otherwise my mailbox is spam with a lot of people saying, "Can you please ask him to do well?" And I'm like, "You're serious, aren't you?" I got some abusive words like, "What's wrong with your brother?" I'm like, "Oh my God, I haven't got one."
Did they really say that?
Yes.
Well, guys, just hang on. It's how do I do this? There we are. No, guys, just to let you know, it's actually true. Aparna is actually the twin sister. They're twins. Navdeep, Sani, Aparna. Aparna went the tennis route. She ended up playing state level tennis with India, and Navdeep took his sister's advice and said to play cricket. So that's the truth. Oh, okay, got that clear.
Oh well, I could hear that, and they could hear me louder than you, so all good. What's the comment? Yes,
I'm looking
Norm
like
is
a
looking
cult
like.
hero. What do you reckon of my new look? I'm shaven somewhat. What do you like the little thing going on there?
What is that? Yeah, you had changed your look actually. I haven't seen you for a few days.
Yeah, well, I got rid of all that stuff. I haven't got a decent shaver, and you didn't come over to help me, so I had to get a pair of scissors.
What do you mean by I didn't come over to help you?
Well, you had a job to be my hairdresser, but I mean, I had to get a pair of scissors like that. A pair of scissors, I went like that. Would you believe?
Well, look at
It's
my hair.
terrible.
I think I'm qualified enough because I've got beautiful hair. But any which way,
Oh, because you got beautiful hair, you can come
because
here. Okay.
Norman's hair are too good. I'm not his hairdresser.
I'm liking this though. They reckon I've got a Keanu Reeves hairstyle. There you go. Okay, is this bad? Teary numb. What's that? Is that bad?
Oh my God.
I'm not going to get that off quickly.
So Tere Naam is Salman Khan's movie, but his hairstyle is known more than the story itself. I think if I don't have it. Otherwise, you should go and Google it.
I will.
It's a good one, guys.
Teary numb. Is that a movie? Is that a movie?
It's a
title?
movie. Yeah, just
Okay.
Google Tere Naam.
Oh, okay. So Sangeeta India should bat out the first session. I would agree. Aparna Saini is great. Look at that.
Thank you, Shashank.
One of your fans. Well, Shashank Kumar Mishra, what you need to do now is get onto Aparna Saini at @asaini_20. I want everybody online to go straight to their Twitter or more so their Instagram handles and go to @asaini_20. Okay, and be on that. She's just sorting herself out there, but she'll be back in a minute. So go on there for me. The game's about to start in another 25 minutes, guys. So start pointing to your name. Go like that.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Point your finger to the. You're at saying. No, point your finger. Do that. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you now. I could hear you before, but I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes. We can hear you. Now you're on mute. Good now? I can hear you, but you can't hear me. No, you're on. Okay, 1 minute. Okay. All right, so Aparna's going to just sort herself out there while we talk. So Anderson must bowl first today. He will. What should Kohli score? A century, you would hope. Aparna, did you cover sports stuff? Aparna does sports. Cricket is her main blob. She does a lot of political history too, a lot of other up-to-date news as well. She does quite a few things. But go to her cricket conversations with Aparna Saini, so her so-called YouTube channel. Go also to her Twitter handle, which is @asaini. And I need to actually get onto that because I'm not on that yet. I have to just see where that is. I'm going there now to @asaini. Let's have a look. It's a new one for Aparna. @asaini_. What? She has 10,000 followers now. Jeez. Aparna Saini, you have 10,000 followers. When did that happen? I didn't even know you had 10,000 followers. That's pretty damn good. I can't hear you at all, huh? I can't hear you. Oh, you've just started this up only recently. So Hapana, back in a second, guys. She's got an incredible mention. So she has quite a decent following. That's interesting. I didn't even know that. Following who's she following? Who's the 19 people she's following? Hopefully it's me. She's not even following me. That's not good. Pardon? You know what?
I heard that.
I'm upset with you. I've just gone to your Instagram, and you're not following me on your Instagram.
Because you're on my private account.
No, I want you to follow me on that one too.
Okay.
You've got 10,400 followers. What are you not following me there for? You're not even mentioning me.
Well, I've got those followers because I was doing, the jewelry fashion brand endorsement and all that. I've been doing that for the last 2 months. You have to really follow me. I might just be, becoming a superstar. You would never know.
I've just followed you. You've got 10,000. I've got 1,000. You're not even following me. I'm annoyed. That's not good enough.
You're gonna be pretty.
Okay. Norman Verrett, 63 ahead of 23,000. Can he do it? He can do it, certainly. 23,000 runs. We're talking about both ODI, T20, and tests. That's brilliant. Are you following Navdeep Saini? Is the question.
I'm following my ICCs.
But
I would be following Navdeep Saini before Norman.
Have you got your phone there? Have you got your phone there now?
Yeah, but I'm on it in the broadcast.
Okay. No excuses. I'm expecting you to be following me on your. That's nasty. He got 10,000. How did you get 10,000 so quickly?
You have to endorse some. I'll tell you offshore. This is from my. Nearly, I was making on the Coles ad. Just put it that way.
Okay. So India will score 550 now. Look,
not in this match.
No, I think it's not about scoring 550. It's building every session to getting in a situation where they have enough to go past the score. If India get 559, that means they're 205 in front, which would be a huge effort. Let's be realistic, guys. 559 is going to depend. It'll need these two batsmen now to get big hundreds, and then Rahane, Punt, and Jadeja all to chip in, because that's 344 runs away. 559. Because India at the moment, how much are India? India they're 215 for 2, so they have to score another 344 runs. 344. That's too many runs to expect, guys. Especially with only a day and a half to go, 2 days to go. They'll probably need most of those 2 days to get that. I don't think they're going to get that. I think they're going to be, if they bat into the 5th day, into the end of the day, into the first session of the 5th day, then you could argue they're a chance of getting a result. At least if they draw the match, that's huge. If they draw this match, that means England have to win both Test matches to win the series.
That's what I'm hoping for. If they have to stay as long as they can. I mean, Indians' middle order has been fragile, so that's would be a great sort of a deal if they can bat for as long as they can, and that's the only way. Apart from rain, which is not happening, the weather looks pretty good. Unfortunately, a draw is a win for India to where they are right now. I mean, the first inning has really, ruled out the scope of win for India.
Well, India have to bat 4 sessions, 3 today and 1 tomorrow, to make sure this is a draw. That's the fact of it. That's a long way. Having already batted a full day yesterday, that was a big effort. They're going to have to lose minimal wickets. They're going to have to lose virtually no wickets in the first session. Their aim should be to survive the first session without a wicket falling. And that doesn't mean letting everything go, play the natural game. But these two batsmen in particular have to let the ball go when it's on off stump. Let Anderson, new ball, be left alone as much as they can. They should be able to do it. But this is unfortunately, there's a comment from Adam. India should have batted first, bowled first. It doesn't matter now.
It could rain because I heard on the commentary yesterday and it was overcast. So mind you, and there was a bit of a drizzle as well. I think the god of rain might be on India's side. Then they don't have to bat as much because that's despite India's comeback and the effort that they did put on day 3, it's very hard from what they've done in first innings to be actually staying and batting for 3 sessions. Very unlikely. But if you are, Norman, one of the optimistic fans of Indian cricket team, might as well be.
Well, there's no reason why you can't be. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, they're in a pretty good situation, but they're not at the moment. They're not. Well, let's be really honest. They're not really in a good situation. They're still 139 runs behind. They've certainly improved their situation dramatically, but it certainly isn't a matter of being in any form of lead. It's a long way from that.
No, but the second new ball was due yesterday, and Root said that he was going in with the fast bowlers, right, before umpires called stumps because of the light. He is itching. Roots will make sure that at least in the first session, either he can knock off Pujara or Kohli, because there's other batsmen coming as well, but that would really break the confidence of India. But if they pick up from where they started yesterday and steady the batting, those two huge expectations, because Virat Kohli at some point has to give us a century. Pujara, there was so many doubts on him. We were, I think, talking before the start of this third test, and he has done it. He's proved him. He's come out in the right time, taken the responsibility, and especially he has been under the scanner, and so is Virat Kohli. But he's in his 90s, and Virat Kohli has to do the same. But it's not about making a century; it's about playing as many balls as you can while Anderson is there, and Root will make sure the new ball is given to someone, which is him, to get him out, and which is very hard for them to survive because, believe it or not, England batting was an issue since they've lost Stokes, and their batting has been all right this time because of what was his name? David, yeah. So he has Dawood. That's the right spell. So they have come good. I mean, and the bowling was not a problem even last time. I mean, they were all right with the bowling, and India has always looked a bit more scared, and especially India's middle order has been so fragile in this whole series. They have come good and bad. From what it looked like, hopefully they mentally haven't lost the match. That's all I would say. And they take it as an opportunity to actually come good.
Well, it's going to be a Herculean effort to continue with the amount of consistency that yesterday brought. It has to be the way Rohit Sharma batted early on is what Pujara and Kohli have to adopt today. They have to let the ball go outside stump. They have to be very measured. A brand new ball. It's going to be very difficult for them. And they've done all the hard work yesterday, but they're going to do equally as much hard work today. Look, David Graveney and Jim Maxwell were not as positive as what we are. They said, hey, guys, let's not talk about day 5 yet. Let's get through today. He said they both hope that they're not talking tomorrow about a landslide victory in a couple of hours because, let's be honest, India could go, in the first couple of sessions today and be all out. They could.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Don't talk about England batting. It's far to get there. Correct, it's true. Did you see this Jarvo guy again? He came out with the Indian outfit again with a bat this time. He got to the middle, to the wicket, and security took him off, and it was quite scary, actually. Why not pick Tim David? He is a brilliant hitter. I don't think we know much about Tim David. He's been very good in the short format in other countries, but we haven't seen much of him in Australia. In fact, is Tim David Australian? Is he in New Zealand? I don't even know. I know very little about Tim David. He seems to have come through the hoops there, not through the normal channels. same determination and patience, like yes, they can secure a draw. Pooja, Jadid, I think there's a fair bit to say about that. They have to go, as I think many people say, session by session, mini targets, get through the first hour, then bat again, next hour, bat again, next hour. That's the way you play. You can't look too far ahead. You just simply can't, because you won't get anywhere doing that. So we're some 13 minutes before the. You haven't been on too many pre-games, have you, Apart? This is one of the few that you've been on pre. You're normally in post games.
Yes.
So this, I'm going to let you. In 13 minutes' time, you and I are going to commentate as if we're the commentators of the match live. Can you see the match?
Oh.
Can you see the match?
Yeah. Well, I have to set it up because I'm using. You
Oh, you haven't got Foxtel.
No, I've got a subscription, but I have wait 6 weeks before I can actually get it on my TV. So I'm using my subscription app for now.
You could have been on my family of apps. I could have got you a link to my. I could have given you a free link.
So I always had it, but because I moved place, so since
Right,
then I
okay.
just couldn't be bothered.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but but it's going to be after engrossing day 3. Today. What promises to be equally entertaining, because if India start losing the wickets, I mean, some sort of entertainment coming from that as well, as much as it would be disheartening for all the fans out there. But still be optimistic. I mean, the batsmen, Indian batsmen, they were productive in each session yesterday as they fought every ball. And they would come with the same mentality, so it's not that far off impossible. So, maybe open a door to a draw.
Yeah. No, Ayan Malik Chaudhry said it's a watch along, which means we watch and we talk. Bakul Dada says if India get all out in the first session, will Chris Vernon get on? Ha ha. That's a bit of sarcasm. No, Pooja, even Shami can score 50 on this flat pitch. He said we don't. Okay, we won't. Now listen. I'm looking at live footage right now. Shane Warner's out there talking. His hair's glistening because he has clear skies above him. There is maybe a handful of small clouds, but the conditions are virtually clear, which is, for a start of the innings, will actually suit the Indian batsmen. It will not help Anderson and Robinson and the like, because there is no overcast conditions, which is really, really positive for India. The fact that it's clear sunshine, and there's no rain clearly, and there's no advantage from the overcast conditions, as good old Reg and Chris Vernon and Munchie all say, look up, not down. I'm looking up now, and it's sunny. So this is
but on day 3, Norman, since day 1, day 2, day 3, it's embarrassing because despite the conditions, still were favouring the batsmen. And it's embarrassing to say, but good to see India to put such a strong response with the bat finally on the 3rd day in the second innings.
Exactly. India are very, very fortunate because the weather is absolutely in their favour. That means they should be able to.
If a wicket or 2 falls, Norman, in the first session, I think it should just start rain.
Well, I don't think there's any hope of rain at the moment. There is no.
I'm
looking at the game live right now. There's not. There's only.
Yeah, but there's no bad rain forecast. Anything. I would agree. Yeah.
Rishabh Pant role is key for India. It could well be, but it's going to take Pujara and Kohli to give that a chance. Pujara, Kohli, and I would say Pujara, Kohli, and Rahane have to still be batting to the point where India actually knock off this 139. That's their target. These 3 batters should be definitely there into that 139 run period.
Pujara is 9 away, and I think Kohli is 55 needed 45, for his century.
45, yeah.
I think it's
45, yeah, 55 away from his century,
yeah. So 55 needed. Much needed milestone.
Well, Kohli's got to get to 50 first. He's 45. He's got 2 40s in the series, not a 50. So his first benchmark is to get to 50.
You're expecting 5 of him. That's it. That's not optimistic.
Well, it's a matter of we want him to do it. We really want him to do it. We seriously want him to do it. There's no doubt about that at all.
Definitely, I want 9 from Pujara and 55 from Virat Kohli for a much-needed century, much-needed milestone. For both batsmen who had been out of touch lately.
Yeah, I hope this England crowd swearing. You know who swore today? Jim Maxwell.
Oh.
It was flippant that he used the F word.
Everyone. What do you think?
Shocked. I can't remember the context, but he swore. Which, I mean, if Alan Mullally gets a hold of it, I'm in trouble because he'll go, if Jim can swear, how come I can't swear? So
I think it's just a matter of what emotion you're doing it with. That's about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
but
partner, we will
okay,
fight.
I'm gonna go and set it up, Norman. I gotta go and set my thing up because I want to watch the match. Very excited.
Okay, all right. So it's now 7 minutes to go. What's your prediction for today?
My predictions. What I want or what my prediction is. So I want India to probably there would be at least one or two batsmen before the tail end starts coming. India should not lose more than 3 wickets today, the whole day. If India loses more than 3 wickets, I think you're in trouble.
Yeah, that would be for sure. So you're saying there will be, 150 in front?
No, they would be able to cover the lead, I think. If okay. Only if Virat Kohli stays for a century. Because
absolutely.
then the next upcoming batsman is in a better state of mind because he's set the pace. That's all it matters. Otherwise, all batsmen are there for a reason because they have the capability to perform. Depends on the day, depends on the mindset. And if Virat Kohli, being a captain, he should take charge, set the form, set the momentum. We should be fine.
No, I have not run a hats cricket lover. I've been told by David Gravy not to wear hats indoors. So whenever he's on, I take the hat off. All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll talk. Can you see if you're up after the game? See if you're up.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, guys, for having me on the show. Thank you, Norman. Do go and subscribe on my channel as well. This one is not being collaborated, last minute arrangements. But do go on my channel, subscribe, Cricket Conversation with Abhana Seni, and all my Instagram followers go to Norm Koch and subscribe him as well. All right, Norman.
And you subscribe to my Instagram. I've just subscribed.
Yes, I will.
All right, partner.
All right.
Take care.
See ya.
Ciao,
Bye.
Ciao. It's good to have a partner here. The game's about to start. We've got about 5 minutes before the game starts. I'm sticking around because I want to be a part of the first session, especially with Kohli and Rahane. Not Rahane, so Kohli and Pujara there. We want to see both of those two players really go on with it. The day is sunny, guys. It is sunny conditions, which to me says a lot about the way India should be able to bat. It's still first session for me. If India survive first session, losing max 1 wicket, they can harbour hopes of saving. Yes, I agree. India will cover the lead within T. Or they should be able to. It should be done by T. 139 is something they should get. If they do by T, and if they don't lose many wickets and they've got rid of that lead, that 354, which was mammoth, then India's momentum and attitude will take over. And if Punt's still there, he can attack. And England will certainly be tiring because it's the second day in the field in a row. It'll tire the England players. Now, mentally, will be not happy with being in that situation when they were in a lead of 354 after the first innings, having scored, India scoring 78 and England scoring well over 400. Come on, partner. What can be perfect setup and watch it along with Norman? Don't go. The thing is, her computer or her apparatus to use for the live feed is also what she wants to watch on, so she can't do both. Norman, if the first session goes to India, then pin my words to today. All sessions are ours. Okay, I will do that. All right, so we're getting closer and closer to start. We're only really some 4 minutes away, guys, which is quite incredible. I might even think about getting a cup of tea. I don't know about you guys, but what about this? This is any turn on Moeen Ali. Yeah, there is a bit of turn for Moeen Ali. He will be a significant player. Not yet because it's a new ball. Unless they decide not to use the new ball, but they will. They're going to go straight to the new ball. Anderson will come on immediately. England will win. Battlefield medic. Look, at this point, England are still in the ascendancy by far. Even if India score another 200 runs, that only puts them in front by 61. That's the problem here. Even 200 runs more is not enough for India. They need 300 more, which is a huge ask, and will put them 150 or thereabouts in front. Can we watch the match in PC and join your show from phone? Yes, you can. But she can't. No, she hasn't all those apparatus. Otherwise, she would. Norman, is there help for bowlers today? Well, it's clear skies. It's sunny skies, which is certainly an advantage for the batsman. Absolutely. Do you feel India fight proves that next two tests will favour India? Well, if India can draw this test match, win will be incredible. If they draw this test match, England have to win the last two test matches. Big ask. If India win this, well, England cannot win the series. They can only draw the series. Yes, it can be. If India bat throughout today, into tomorrow, into at least the first session tomorrow, yes, it's possible. Yeah, the first hour will decide everything. You're right. If my concern is if Kohli and Pujara get out quickly with Rahane, then they're 3 down. They'll be scratching to get past the 139, and they could fall apart. Not that they're playing badly. Take care, Norman. Finger crossed, India does well. I agree. What's your prediction for today? I'm being realistic. It's going to be a big effort for India to score what they did yesterday. If they can be 2 for 215 after today, which means 4 for 430. It puts them only 80 odd in front. It's a massive, massive further development of the game. And even then, there's still not a certainty of victory. By match started. Okay, all the best. We'll see each other now. I can see Rouge going out the middle. I don't think you can really push for a win and create enough pressure in the last session because missing from. Yeah, okay. Let's not get to that. Let's get through this first session. With Pujara's out there now, with Kohli. The sun is out. There's only a very small light cloud. Great day for batting. Okay. I hope any wickets won't fall down in big. I hope so too. How do you cancel like your premier? Okay. Well, my dog started to lick my ankle, and I had what they call a basal cell carcinoma, which is not malignant. It's not. It was benign, not malignant. And I had it cut out. I had a few other spots cut out. It was in the sun around Australia. It happens. There's nothing serious. They're not serious. Things that was cut out, they had to be cut out. But they weren't serious. So I was very, very lucky. For my ankle. What the hell was Mike doing on my ankle? It's bizarre. So James Anderson, as expected, has come on. Looks like Kohli's facing. This is extremely important, this first over. Extremely important. And I'm sure Kohli's feeling the nerves because so far in the series, he hasn't handled these situations very well. Coming in early with a brand new ball from Anderson, he hasn't handled them well. So he was very lucky that they had a good opening partnership to survive before he came in. He's been involved in a 99-run partnership with Pujara, and he's about to face the first ball. So here we go. Right on time. The first ball's about to be bowled. And he lets the ball go very, very handsomely. There's no. They're basically just to cream up and don't be in the sun for the major part of the day. Some shoulder scan soon. Yeah, I will. So first ball's been bowled. We have a 99-run partnership. Pujara 91 and Kohli facing on 45. Several milestones about to happen. The biggest milestones are the 50s and 100s, and their partnership getting more than 100. But the biggest milestone is 139. Yeah, Kohli looked a bit nervous against, and Anderson's bowling quite widely off stump and very easy to let go. So Virat's got to play in a certain manner here, doesn't he? Had a very good session today, guys, with David Gravy and Jim Maxwell for the first hour. Then Apana joined me for the second. It was really, really good fun. Anderson bowling without a great deal of purchase, very little to no swing, a little bit of cut, but it's because there is bright sunshine above. There's no, I'm not sure how the wind is, but it's very bright skies, and that will not favour the bowlers traditionally.
Kohli and um, Kohli and Rahane, Kohli and Pujara, I should say, are in the box seat here. They've got to really, it's for theirs to do. You will end the stream now. Aaron, no, I'm not going to end the stream just yet. Is the ball swinging prodigiously? No. Kohli getting the jersey certainly is. There's more cut than there's no swing. There's a bit of cut off the wicket, a bit of cut, but not a lot of swing. In fact, no swing at this point. A bit of shape because it's a new ball, as you would expect, but not a great deal. Very predictable, and Kohli's doing very well so far, letting every ball go, which is what he needs to do. So I've been on for 2 hours, guys. I'll end the stream. I just want to watch the first 2 hours together, guys. But good luck for us both. Ball is jagging a little bit, but Kohli's having nothing to do with it, playing it very, very well. All they're going to do is see Anderson off and Robinson off the first hour, edge out about another 50-odd runs, 60-odd runs, and move into the second session, and they're on their way. But then they're going to have another hard session again, scoring 80 or 100 runs again, get past the 139, then can start to be a little bit more purposeful in their batting, where the ball is there. Bowling would have lost its flavour a little bit, and they would have definitely had a situation where the fielders will tire. Kohli's got the middle of the bat. They like to go for hit the ball and go for a run. Sun's out, good batting conditions, absolutely over Sharma. This is really ready-made for some good long batting, and we want this to be this is being given to them because they batted well yesterday. They allowed themselves an opportunity to play today in sunshine. Anderson's bowled 20 overs, Robinson 18 over to 17. So they're all another 5 or so overs each, and they're starting to reach pretty lengthy bowling spells. Curran's bowled 9, Ali's bowled 11. He could be the key later on the day. Root 6 shouldn't be bowling at all, quite frankly. Pujara's on 91. This is 89 matches, Test career, and he has scored 642. He's got a batting average of 45.92. Nothing to be sneezed at, guys. Yeah, that is it. It is a like just grind out. They must see up this first session. There's no doubt. So join me, guys. We're watching now Ollie Robinson's first over of the day. He has bowled already 18 overs, so he's bowled a fair few overs. 5 or 10 more overs of him, he'll be tied, and 5 or 10 of Anderson will be tied. And you can fancy with spinners on day 5. Yeah, but let's get there first. Pujara certainly played the ball. Uncle Sam, let's see it as a practice match and tire the bowlers out as much as possible so we win the next 2 matches as well. Look, India can now, they've got to play out today, then they can start to consider the match being in a draw situation for the 5th day, that they need to get through today. And the closer they get to a draw, it leaves them 1-0 with 2 test matches. That means England have to win both test matches, which is a huge order. Huge order, guys. Pujara looks determined. He tried to drive that early ball. He's best not playing balls outside stump too much in the early session. Well left, yeah. Just let those balls go, Pujara. Let them go if they're on or just on or off something. They're going to move away. Just let them go. Ms. Malkhan, how are you? Guys, if you're joining now, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please do me the favour and subscribe. It's really appreciated if you do that for a number of reasons. So Robinson comes to the bowl. Robinson's bowling a slightly better line of length. But so far, Pujara and Kohli have been untroubled and not having to play balls. And there's not a lot going on there. The wickets are not. There's not a great deal of purchase for the
England bowling attack with Sun above, even though it's a new ball, it's a fairly in a manageable situation to this point. They've got to keep playing accordingly. Must keep playing accordingly. Robertson comes into Peugeot. Oh, he let the ball go, but that was decidedly close to the stumps, but good judgment, you would have to argue, but it was decided. It didn't actually move away as much. If anything, it came in a little bit. It actually came in a bit more than expected, but he left it well. Ooh, very close to the off stump. Very close. That one thing I was going to take 2 sessions to neutralise. I don't think India will press for a win yet here. No, they're going to get rid of this total first. Otherwise, there's no game. That was leg side, and interesting. The ball's not doing very much at this point. Minimise direct approach. Your shoulder bones won't hurt. Thank you, Anuja. You're a part-time doctor. Sitting like this for 2 hours will be damaging for anyone. Crowds coming in and what are definitely sunny conditions. Well left. They're certainly leaving the ball nicely, guys. There's a lot to be said about them leaving the ball, right? I'm sure Java has been well taken care of. Crowds still streaming through. No one's wearing masks. There's no signs of any distancing between people. Obviously, the amount of vaccines that have been given out has seen England now take on a easy as she goes approach. Australia's just gone back in time where we've got masks, we've got distancing, we've got no movement, all sorts of bloody issues. Anderson. Very, very distinct outside off stump bowling performance there, not troubling the batsman at all. There's certainly a lot of help there for the bowlers. And if we can get through these first hour into the second hour, the ball will start wearing and the bowling will change their bowling attack and they'll have other bowlers come on and India will start to gain more and more ascendancy. We're still 139 runs behind. There was considerable out. No, that's more cut rather than swing. Not a great deal, not a great deal of swing at all. Very, very predictable, and he's bowling too wide of the off stump as well as James Anderson. That was a better delivery. But Kohli's learnt massively what to do with these deliveries. He's learnt not to play. Very interesting to see what. I mean, England are still in the box seat. They're 139 runs in front. India have to get rid of that. They have to bat hour by hour, session by session. That ball was very wide, and Kohli had nothing to do with it. Actually, it was there to cut, if you ask me, but not this early innings. What are the chances you would make for the 5th test, both sides? Remove Curran for Woakes, England, and Ishant will probably go on Thakur or Umesh or Ashwin. And in terms of Curran for Woakes, Woakes may come in and keep coming. We're not sure. What are the changes? No, same question. But fair question, Buckle. You would think Chris Woakes, if fit, will come in. Maybe at the expense of Curran, maybe not. But maybe even a James Anderson would be rested. We don't know that. And for a situation with Ishant, I think you might see him, either Ashwin will come in or Thakur will come in. Umesh may be there too. We don't know. Yeah. Anderson's bowling at 134 kilometres per hour. He's not bowling express by any means. Not his pace that will be troubling the batsman. And such sunny conditions, it really must be mentally positive for the Indians. If the fifth test, yeah, our English guests have said that the fifth test is normally rained out. So really, India get away with this, and for a draw, that all England can do is win the next match and make it 1-1, and then the series is ended because the last match would be rained out. So yeah, there's a lot of positives. This particular performance now is extremely important for India. They need to show face and survive. Guys, if you're coming on to my YouTube channel, please hit the subscribe button for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Coach. Hit the subscribe button now while you're watching. I really would appreciate that. Hit the notification button. We had David Gravely, the former England chairman of selectors. We had Jim Maxwell, who has commentated in cricket over 350 test matches. And in fact, some 48 plus years of commentary. Amazing. Then after we had Aparna Saini with her thoughts. Great coverage so far, guys. Kohli and Pujara doing very well so far. Indeed. Aren't they? Bharat Army there. I can see the Bharat Army, who are a great fan of this show as well as the show from Extra Time. We've worked very closely together and we've had a great time with our Bharat Army. One of the best, in fact, not one of the best, is the best fan club for the Indian team in the world. There's a couple other ones that were probably pretty average, which they should not be taken seriously. But the one that should be is definitely the Bharat Army. Other ones are just flop. The ones that are fly by night. Just go to the one, be part of the one major one. Is it my opinion? If Rahane doesn't perform here, Jadeja can take a spot of Rahane and play on top of what Ashwin can then come into. Possibly. India's going to win here too early, but let's hope. Such a fresh, beautiful sunshine treat. It is great condition. Jimmy moving the ball away, setting Vera up for one that comes back in. That's true. But he's bowling very wide. Maybe there's a deliberate tactic to bowl when they come in. Maybe you're right. Maybe he's trying to trap them LBW because there's not a lot going on at the moment. Please, guys, subscribe if you're there online as we watch this match. They give you commentary. Subscribe. I've been on for 2 hours and 12 minutes, guys. Help me. It looks like Pujara's hell-bent on not hitting anything that's off the stumps. This is Pujara's day. He knows it. He knows it big time. A couple of ducks in the crowd. We want to see those. So 400 people have joined during the 15 minutes of play. I'm very proud of it. So please continue. We've got Pujara looking very relaxed, looking very much like he wants to be out there, knowing the conditions are really good. Oh, Jesus, I don't know about that. Oh, that was a very strange. I don't quite know what happened there. Pujara didn't play a shot, did not play a shot. And not playing a shot, the ball hitting on the pads, it's a disaster. Usually it's been given not out, though. But, oh, it's a hard one. I don't know what he was doing. Do you think he'll be able to hit 2,000 by the fifth test? I would hope so. I only wish Pujara was more consistent throughout the years because when he gets it, it's very hard to dislodge. Well, he's played it's about whether it hits the stumps here. There's a review taking place. There's no bat, of course, involved. Decision's being reviewed. We'll wait to see what happens here. This could be disastrous. Let's just hope for Pujara's sake he's given not out because the umpire has said not out. Wickets hitting, review retained, original decision not out. He is out. He's out. Pujara has been given out. LBW Robinson for 91. Not what we wanted, guys. It was a bizarre shot.
ball was there, and he should have played it. He should have played it. It was on the stumps. Disastrous. Pajara's gotten out for 91. Root's going nuts. England are going nuts. Pajara has not added to his account overnight. Oh my God. It's a bit sad. Really, kind of was worried about this. That was not a good goal at all. It was just a bizarre thing to be playing. Very bizarre. Disaster. Not what I was hoping to see, guys, at all. Pajara missed out on his 100. You can't knock his batting performance so far. He's still got 91. That's a great effort, but we really needed him to bat on today, and that's not what they wanted. They did not want that. No one wanted to see him get out. It was to a very innocuous. It wasn't a good delivery necessarily. It was just a poor shot. Very strange thing to be letting that ball go. I don't quite know what happened there at all. So Rahani's come into bat. He's played 77 Test matches. He's got 4,732 runs. So he's certainly a man of experience as well. But there was something bizarre with the shot. It was actually a good ball to drive. A bit too ultra defensive, unfortunately. Thank you, Rashmi Jahar. Root's gone. Root's almost done a Coley away. I reacted. Not what you wanted. You wanted Rahane to just have Pajara to bat for most of the day now. It's changed the complexion. Wish Rahane shows his class today along with Coley. It's really up to these two now. We don't want to bring Punt in this early. You do not want Punt to come this early. It's way too early. They still have not added to their account from overnight. They're still 139 runs behind. Not the start that India were wanting. Well, Pajara still has done very well. Let's be clear on that. Well, that was a very poor dismissal. So anyone joining now, please, we're watching the match. We're doing a ball-by-ball description here of the Indian batting. They've lost Pajara without adding to his overnight score. He's out for 91. Very unfortunate. If you're here, please join, as in subscribe to the Eyes on Cricket with Norman Costing site. YouTube site. Hit the notification button. At Norman Koch is both my Twitter and my Instagram. Robertson has hit the jackpot. Now India stands no chance at all win or draw. Well, we can only say that when these two survive the rest of the session. But looking at Rahane scores 5-1, 61, 18, duck. He's had 3 poor innings and one that he got 61. He's going to get one of those 61s again today, if not more. Kohli's facing. Really have to hope that these two can kick on. Not the start that India wanted. There's no ball. In fact, it's the first run of the morning. So they didn't add to their 99-run partnership. They got 99 rather than 100. Pajara didn't get his 100. Some setbacks there. Robinson's bowled a little bit better than Anderson this morning. When the ball's shorter, there's a lot more time for the Indian batters, that's for sure.
Pujara deserved a century today. Kohli to make a ton. Rashmi, let's not talk about 50s and 100s. Let's get them ball by ball at the moment. Very unfortunate Pujara's 91, but you've got to give him a lot of accolades for his innings. He's deserving of his position, and he will continue to play in that position into the next test. It was a very important recovery. Now it's up to Kohli and Rahane to do the same, and ultimately Punt and Jadeja to do the same. There's certain partnerships there that we need to form between these two. And Ladder and Punt and Jadeja, they need to get 50 or 100 run partnerships each to bring this out of this position and make England bat again. And England may still win this test match, but India have to remember they're coming back from the 354 deficit. That's their target. Get rid of that. Anderson to Rahane. They seem to be handling Anderson better than Robertson at the moment. Rahane's got that fight about him. That's what I like about Rahane. So does Pujara. But Pujara's shot was very strange. You're never going to succeed leading the ball game without hitting a pad. Although, interestingly enough, the umpire gave him not out, which was interesting. Even you are only 3 down. Well, no, they've got to be realistic. Momentum's all about batting punches. They haven't established one yet. Pujara deserves to get out. No, I don't believe it. He played 91 runs is not bad from anyone's perspective. Only one player there in both teams has scored more. That's scored more. That's Root. So let's put that in perspective. England had all the opportunities. They didn't get 10 players scoring 91. So no, Pujara's things was commendable. Now it's up to Kohli. Kohli has taken a step outside of stuff and tried to make contact unnecessarily and has almost edged the ball. I don't quite know what Kohli was doing here. He's trying to get closer to the line of the ball by his position of his feet, and all he's doing is just tempting fate. He definitely had moved further to cross the ball in his batting stance, and ultimately will edge the ball. So he's got to stay. He's got to cover his off stump and let the ball go. What's the point of dabbing? You're not going to get any worth unless you are, and it's under your eye. That was too far for his eye. Kohli's got to play the ball late under his eye, under his helmet. When he pushes the bat out like that, he's playing it well away from his helmet and out of his eye line. That's the mistake he's making. That's the fundamental mistake of Kohli's batting is he's batting and he's playing at the ball well outside. He's under his helmet. He should come to him and come to his bat, and he's not doing that. It's a real pity. Now, don't knock Pujara's performance. It's a poor dismissal, yes, but he still got 91 runs, and we've got to be thankful for that. He's let the ball go in the most unusual way, but he's come out with a good result. The reaction of Root and Robertson was full-on Kohli style warrior type. Congratulations. Don't forget that India are basically 3 for 100 3 for minus 135. We've got to put this in perspective, guys. They've got to get them into the positives to make them. That's a huge effort just on that alone. See, this is what I meant about that's when treating it like a practice match and tire that one bat bowlers out. That's right. They've got to do that. They've got it, but that shot of Pujara was just not on. It was just a very intriguing thing to do. It was not really that successful at all, was it? Punt's padded up. hopefully won't be needed before the start of after lunch. Who are you expecting to be the standout player for a new state? Oh, Coley's still there and punt down the track, but give punt plenty of options. They need to get more runs on the board. They need to get almost in front. Thank you, Rashmi. I appreciate that. Rashmi said 100 likes for this video. We've got about 100 likes. We've also had about 3,000 viewing, which has been great. But please, out of those 3,000 viewers, how many have actually hit the subscribe button? Hit the subscribe button for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Koch. And then hit the notification button for the next session. And at Norm Koch, which is both the Instagram and my Twitter. So please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't hurt, guys. Coley's got the middle of bat. He's got himself the mark for the morning, which is good. I enjoy doing the commentary with you guys. It's fun. With Robinson bowling, maybe the score is 3 for 220. That they travel 134. So still a long way to go, guys. A long way to go. Very unlikely at this point for England not to do anything else but win. We must remember that India have to really continue for a long, long time here, at least a couple of sessions, if not into the third, with these batsmen we're seeing. They can't afford to lose any wickets. It's a big ask. Big, big ask. Robinson's wicket the ball was always coming into the bat. He let it go. In fact, it was intriguing how the umpire actually gave it not out. Very interesting. It looked out to me when he let a ball go outside of stump. You're generally out. Beautiful shot from Rahane. He's got the ball. The wicket ball is not doing enough to concern them. Rahane's played a very nice off drive there for 4. And see, even though Pujara's got out for 91, he's still done a great job. If these two can get scores like that, they're really back in the situation. Yes, jinx. I'm not a jinx. Look here, don't say that. Let's keep going. Rahane. That was good. The ball was certainly wider. It was tempting, but it was wider and rather full. Robinson's quite a clever bowler. I'm impressed with the way he's bowling. Robinson is going to be an addition to the England bowling side for sure, especially after the likes of Broad and obviously Wood are out. Robinson's becoming more of a fixture in this team. Obviously with Anderson, their days are numbered. They're not going to play forever, these guys. There was a very bad lead by Pujara, you're right. Jinx is okay. So a jinx, okay. Well, even jinx as in jinx him. Sorry, yeah. Monty started to pick up his Monty Mix podcast show. Yeah, that's good. He's good. He's got his own show, but he's also coming on mine. All right, he's been on my shows, you know. He'll come on again. But David Graveney, Champions Lectures, I don't think you realise how significant he is. And Jimmy Maxwell with me, they haven't spoken, not there's any problem, but they haven't actually seen or spoken to each other for 16 years. Well, let's get Coley up to a 50 and then move on from there, Ronald Robinson. Let's give him a bit of a chance. Let's not talk about hundreds. This has been 6 overs with 9 runs for 1 wicket. There's been no runs being scored, but a wicket's been taken. We've got to continue on here in there. If they Anderson out of the attack and Robinson, then come to the likes of Curran and Overton, then that's a starting off as an achievement there. to Coley versus Sam. This thing's 41%. Okay, let's just see how he's going to go here. Ooh. Coley played the complete wrong line there. Was well inside the ball. It was a very good delivery. Yeah, just let's get 10 runs, run 10 run increments. It was a beautiful delivery. And Coley went splaying ourselves down the hip. Nothing going on there. Lots of concerns on everyone's. Coley played a very wild shot, well away from his pad. Now necessarily outside off stump. Oh, Jesus. The ball is on a stump, skid through, and they're saying it was too high. It didn't move in at all. Coley's not confident against Anderson at all. Coley's got to see Anderson out of the attack. That's so important for Coley. Coley gets Anderson out of the attack. Trailing by 130 now. So yeah, Anderson's only bowling 135 Ks. The speed's not the issue. Just playing the right line of length and letting balls go. It's extremely important to let balls go. Are you all watching, guys? Are you watching the game? Have you got it live? Have you got it on your respective Sony televisions? I'm watching Foxtel. Anderson comes into, oh my God, is he out? Oh, it looks like Anderson has just gotten Coley sneaking behind again. Coley's out for 46. I did fear Pujara and Coley would not handle the early morning play, and he's gone for the review. It looks as though he's going for the review. He claims he's hit the ground, not the bat. And Butler was a bit uncertain about going up initially. So Coley claims that he's actually hit the ground, it's not hit the bat. And Butler did confirm that with a rather half-hearted appeal at first. Let's have a look. He does look well away from the ball. And again, why is Coley playing so wide of his pads? No need to play that ball at all. There was nothing shot. He's definitely, he hasn't hit it. The ball he has scraped his pad on the way through. And yeah, there's nothing. No, he's not out. Coley is not out. He's played his pad. Okay, thank God. I think you're right. Yeah, he does have a chance. He's got 390. Every chance we'll get that. He needs to leave those balls. He played hard and threw the ball away from his pad, well outside of stuff. Absolutely unnecessary. But the reaction of Butler was significant. He made no claim to the catch at first. It was the fielder that went up there first, and the actual keeper didn't. He caught it, and then he thought about it. After the other 10 reacted, so yeah. Bit of luck there for Coley. Coley had no idea that he was out. It's amazing I'm saying this, but he needs to do what Rowett did at what was play with soft hands. Exactly. Not play hard at the ball. Just let it go or let it come onto you and let the ball come onto you, under your helmet. He's hitting the ball out here. Well away from his head. He's not playing under his head. Very fundamental mistake. Like Rahali's just played the ball under his helmet. In England, your back foot and it's under your helmet. Especially early on in the performance like this. He luckily hit his pad, but see, he's hitting his pad on the way through to the ball. He's nowhere near the ball. What? Not necessary. Coley has to let those balls go. He hasn't learnt yet to this moment. He's still, Robert Sharma did it beautifully. Let the ball go completely. When it's on or off stump, just ice off stump. Let the ball go. Okay, there is a chance of it coming back in, yes, but he was playing a full-blooded drive, or it wasn't on. He can't do that. He's not in India. He's not in Indian pitches where he can judge that. He's got to figure out that shot. What did I tell you? We're worried about Pujara's 150 there. He wants to get a bat on ball, which is what batsmen do when they're not in form. Coley is in form. Yeah, it's true. He's just got to forget all that and just let the ball go. Make them bowl to him. Now, Rahane has played a full ball, which probably deserved to be whacked. And he's hit it for 4. Rahane, good shot. Because the conditions are that good that he should be hitting them for 4. That's more like it. Coley's just got to get through this stage as a shot. There's no one there. He's got no fieldsman to worry about. Oh, boy. It certainly is. Rahane seems to be a little bit more settled. Coley's decidedly not himself at the moment. He's still pushing balls. Better, or let the ball come under the helmet. Anyone joining now that is on my YouTube channel, please go to the subscribe button, hit subscribed, notification, Twitter and Instagram are there. Follow me. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, please. It's what this is all about. It gives me encouragement to continue if you can support me. Okay. I've lost it. The question is when. It's not a question of when. It's a question now of performing as best as they can and putting up a great fight and getting a lot out of this. And they can still do it. They certainly can. So we had David Graveney and Jim Maxwell on the first hour. Then we followed it with the partner saying in the second hour. And basically the last 40 minutes we've been watching the match. And it's been enthralling cricket. 3 for 228 after 88 overs, trial by 126. Coley, this looks like Coley made a big effort to get off the strike, and he's just done that. Good into Coley. Yep, that's a good idea. He should be rotating the strike. You play the ball. If the ball's there, you get a single. Rotate the strike. Make the bowler have to, change their attitude a bit. Change it. That's right. There's none of this prodding. That was good, Coley off strike. I think that's probably good for him for the moment.
So a pity that Pajara didn't survive that. Coley's so far has survived. Got to give him some credit. He's very close in a few occasions. Anderson, now to Rahane. Let's see if Rahane's more in the mood to take him on. It's very stumped. It's a stump. Okay. Rahane. Let's see. There is a change of momentum, but ever so slight. From 78 all out, if India are able to put a 100+ target, there'll be a huge morale booster, irrespective of the outcome. Agreed, Abhishek, that's what they've got to do. They've got to finish today and be, 100 in front. That's an achievement. So that'll be 220 runs or thereabouts in the day. And that's a big effort. Let's be honest. My hair gets messy after all, guys. The old combs out. There we are. So this spell, Anderson's ball, 4.3 overs, 3 maidens. Ooh, close to the edge yet again. Coley knows his corridors. He knows where to bowl. Is Jim Maxwell related to Glenn Maxwell? No. Jim Maxwell's actually from Victoria. Jim's from Sydney. From one. No, I think there's no relationship. No. What is the time in Australia? It is now 8:44 p.m. And in India, it's 4:14 p.m., correct? Dinner time here. See, Rahane just played that ball under his helmet, but the ball come to his bat and he was in better control. He wasn't pushing out to it, as what Coley's fundamental batting for at the moment is to pushing out to the ball, trying to go and reach the ball. Just let it go or play it under the helmet. Very simple batting techniques. And not stick your pad out like Pachara did. Root, under pressure, Root can get out. So let's not worry about Root at this moment. Let's get in and he gets a run first. So India are 3 for -125. So don't forget that. You see Anderson off. Get him 10 overs and get him tired and get him changed. And then that'll be a big step. Have I been to Headingley? Yes, I certainly have. I've been to all England grounds. I've been to most of the Indian grounds. I've been to New Zealand, Australia, obviously all the Australian grounds, South Africa, West Indies, Sri Lanka. Absolutely. Played on Sri Lankan pitches. I've actually played on pitches in Sri Lanka, India, England, New Zealand, Australia, and the West Indies. Not Pakistan, UAE. I've been to games in the UAE and Bangladesh. Good shot from Coley. Are we going to see a 50 from Coley? Virat Kohli has just scored a 50. He's 51 not out. It's his first 50 in a long time. Certainly the first 50 in this series. And he got through a decision against him. Now he's got 50 and he's not celebrating. He should be holding his bat up. He hasn't held his bat up. He's not happy enough for this. He wants to go further than this. Yeah, I want to be a key factor. Kohli, come on, Skip. What do you think is going to be Virat's plan today? Just grind it out. Bat long, bat all day. If you can bat all day, we're in a great position. So Coley got a ball which he could hit on the leg stump and clipped it out beautifully. Coley just needs a bit of luck. He's got a duck, 42, 27, 51. Not horrific, but it's not great either. Difference in South African and Australian pitches. Not a hell of a lot, actually. They're both good fast bowling pitches, a lot of bounce. That's why South African batsmen generally do okay in Australia. Not a lot of spin, though. Coley, again, is pushing himself. There was no need to play that ball. He's still, after playing one good shot, he starts to think he's going to be able to get on the front foot of balls. It was a ball that was not there to hit, and he went out again. He batting way away from his pads. And playing the shot well out in front of his helmet again. He's still doing that. Very frustrating. He's better than that. He scored 50, but he's better than what he's doing. He's got to let the ball go. That's the ball that was on the stumps, and it looks like he's going to get 4 out of this. That's what he's got to wait for. Wait for the ball. Make them bowl to him. And then he's going to get his 4s. There's 2 examples. He scored 2 4s in the last couple of overs from balls that have been in the slot to hit. Try to let the ball goes outside and wait for the balls to come to him. When they try to bowl to him, they'll slip. I'm watching on an iPad, actually. You want to see what I'm looking at, guys? I'll just quickly show you. I can't do it. Oops. Can't do it. It's too hard. But yeah, I'm in a situation I'm watching it. Okay. What was that? Was that out? Coley's just nicked behind. After all what I said, he's done exactly what I wanted to do. He's poked at the ball. It was just not there to play. Oh my God. He just poked at the ball outside of stump unnecessarily. Oh, Jesus. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Yes. Oh, no. I thought I was watching a replay for a minute and I wasn't. Again, he's poking at balls out, poking at them, not letting them go. Again, fundamentally, let the ball go or let the ball come under your helmet or wait for the balls to come onto your stumps so you can play the 2 good shots that he played. Very disappointing. Oh. There's still trouble. They're 4 for minus 117. Punts come in under the first hour. That was not what we were planning on him to happen. Richard Punt's coming in way earlier than he would have liked. Punt's played 24 test matches. He got 1,489 runs, average of 41, which is still very good. 6 50s and 300s. Not a bad performance at all. It's a dead set push. Played it well outside of his off stump. He's actually moved across. He's taken a step towards the offside, and knowing that he's moved across the offside, so he's outside of off stump. He's then dabbed at a ball that he should have just went boom and let it go. So he's actually taken a step across the stumps, which has achieved nothing but just the ball was there not to be hit, and he knew that because he was outside off stump.
Well, it's not looking good at the moment. Yeah, it's a total chain middle, right? All out for 300. Well, they're all out for 300. They're not going to pass the score, are they? Punt's got 25, 37, 22, and 2. So he's hasn't really gone on with it yet. We need something of 100. He this is the day he's reckoning. If Punt can bet out the day, which is a big ask. Big ask. The two batsmen who were there overnight had done very well to get to last night have both been dismissed. Coley got his 50 for 55 and Pujara didn't add to his overnight score. That's why we always knew this was what will happen. That's why I was hoping for a miracle. Yeah, maybe you're right. Go back. Punt won't get anything. It get better if he doesn't overcome tough match situations. Yeah. Yes, England win. Yeah, it doesn't look like India are going to win yet. That's a fair point. And again, Punt's down the wicket. Punt's off the strike. That's something. Coley needs to develop his back foot game. I agree. He needs to also let the ball go. He actually consciously took a step across, so he was distinctly outside off stump and then still dabbed at the ball. If he's going to go across there, he should either play the shot or let it go. He really should have let the ball go. Rahani's a lot more comfortable out there today, and albeit the Pujara and Coley didn't go on with it, Rahani could still play that innings, and Punt and Jadeja stay with him. We may see them at least get rid of the 115 and at least make England bat again, which will be something. But it would have been better if it was in the 5th day after lunch, not the 4th day after lunch. It's not good. They've lost the two batsmen that were really going well yesterday. They've lost both of them. But they kind of are typically do that, unfortunately, at the moment. Rahani's looking a lot more. He's playing the ball under his helmet. He's waiting for the ball to come in. He's doing that well. I don't know. He keeps going across the offside because he relies heavily on drives and to score runs through the offside. There's no back foot shots on the offside. Well, it doesn't mean he has to play balls that are not there to hit, though. What my colleague think he needs to go for almost every ball. Doesn't he understand how valuable it is to the team if he's just sticking around? Well, Rohit Sharma certainly has worked that out, and generally Pujara does as well, but Coley hasn't. He wants to be too positive, and that's not a bad sign, but oh, geez, and now I'm afraid Rahani's just gotten an edge off Anderson, poking at a ball a la Coley, and Rahani's gone for 10 now 5 for 239. England have taken 3 wickets this morning for 21 runs. It's not looking good, guys. That's the trailing by 150. That's their 5 for minus 115 with Punt and Jadeja, effectively the last 2 in there. That India's going to lose this test match. Just a matter of how well they can get through and make England bat again is the key here. And Anderson's extremely excited. So is Roots showing a lot of cold. They're showing a lot of determination. They haven't exactly bowled that well, if I'm honest. There's been some poor batting shots. Jadeja's out there with Rahani. And Jadeja's out there with Punt. Not what England were expecting. India were expecting. Not looking good, guys. Yeah, I don't know whether it's the outswing. I think it was just poor selection of shots by both Rahane and Collier, let's be honest. And even Pajara. They all played fairly poor selection. It wasn't overwhelmingly good bowling. It's funny how Richard Vernon comes out of the woodwork when England are batting playing well. Richard Vernon, aka Rich, says to me, if Wokes returns at the Oval, Anderson, Robinson, Wokes will be a real handful for India. Yeah, okay, we get that, but you're only, they haven't won the series yet. Richard Vernon, come on air then if you're so willing to talk. The Beasties are ordered more grass on their pitches after the whitewashes. They let the bowls like Vinay Kumar being leading. We can take it and run traffic. Okay. Only rain can save India. Well, it's not coming. It's sunny as hell. I should have batted a lot better than this, guys. And if you're joining me, please hit Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kosnak. Hit the subscribe button, notification button, because I'm here to provide you with commentary. Just waiting for the formalities, Uncle Sam. Don't be that conclusive just yet. It's unlikely. These two, yeah, it doesn't look good. They're 119 or whatever it is behind. They're 5 wickets down there. That 100 odd runs, there's a huge amount of runs now. Not just a little few runs, it's a huge number. So 5 for 239. There's still 125 or thereabouts. 115 actually. Yeah, so Pajara's dismissal of showing that what he was doing. I don't know what he was doing. He should have put back to that. Coley didn't have to play that ball. He poked at it. Robinson's bowled pretty well. Anderson hasn't been as good, but he did take the wicket just then of Rahane. I don't know why Rahane played that. He did poke at it. He played it rather late, but he still poked at it. Let's have a look here. Yeah, he's actually not. It's not played under his helmet. He's played it. He's poked at it. You don't when the ball's in, let it go. Don't poke it. There's no poking at it. All you're going to do is get an edge. And that's Anderson's 400 Test wickets in England. So James Anderson's got 400 Test wickets in England. It's his 94th Test match in England. He's taken 400 wickets there, which is quite an impressive performance indeed. No, they need to play well. Yeah, they have to now. I would definitely drop Rahane for the Legends too. Yeah, maybe. Rahane main big score was the century and well. Yeah, that's not where team selection is at the moment. Punt is dancing in the wicket. That's his way of batting. And with 115 runs behind, not what you want to see. Robinson saw punt come out of the wicket and shot it out wide. More defensive shot from punt, which is good to see. Yeah, Robinson got him out last time with a fairly innocuous outside off stump delivery. All right, guys, it's come up for 3 hours now. Do you want me to continue? Tell me in text message whether you want me to continue with this live broadcast as punt faces Robinson. Punt seems to like to walk down the pitch a fair bit there.
They should bring in Root and Moen to bowl for punt. Yeah, that would be nice to see. I think punt would be licking his lips if that was the case. I'll stay on a bit longer. It's the due for drinks, actually. Drinks is due, you would think. Not very promising, guys. There's still 115 runs in arrears. With Punt and Jadeja there, that's the last recognised batsman. They've got a whole long tail. These two have to barrow their skin about this session and the next session at the very least, even to make a go of this, and that's not looking very likely. We probably will see an end of the day game today. Oops. And Punt has just nicked a ball from Robinson on one. Very innocuous little dab, nothing in it. And India are now 6 for 239. They're 6 for -115. It was an awful shot. Looks like Overton took that catch at either, I think it was the third slip. Wide, well away from his bat, straight into the hands of Overton. This is a mess. Absolute mess. At 6 for 239, there's still 115 in arrears. So India have effectively lost 4 wickets this morning for 24. 4 for 24, India as well. They've capitulated massively. It's some bowling that really hasn't been all that fantastic. Just steady and man of the match Robinson. Well, he certainly looks that way. England mustn't getting form. Maybe all that with them now. It certainly is. England haven't had to bowl that much to this morning. They've only used the 2 bowlers. We're not going to see this. We're not going to see the day out, guys. We may not even see lunch. India have lost 4 wickets this morning for 24 runs. Not what you want. Well, Shami has to, after 54 test matches, Shami scored 584 runs, a batting average of 11, 250. His highest 56 was only a week ago at Lords. That was his highest. So, ball was way wide, and Punt did nothing but just dab at it. Robinson's bowled very well today. Oh, Jesus, that looked close. Maybe a little bit too wide. They're not appealing for it. Tell you what, that wasn't that far away. Looks out. You're right, Aaron. But they didn't appeal for it, so. Yeah, looked a bit high, and may have just gone over off stump. Yeah, missing. So they've said it was missing. So fair enough. That's a reasonable decision under the circumstances. Awful situation, guys. Really sad to see, isn't it? Yeah, it's not a great situation for India at all. Jadeja seems to be the only one. All right, guys, I might cut off now because we may have to come back a bit later with another broadcast for the
summary of the game. So Jadeja was out. K clues. What do you mean? Of possession started, nothing surprising. I've been seeing this in England for the last decade. Carabanca, well, it's probably a bit too extreme. In fact, but Cave Justice have lost 4 weeks in just 24 hours. That's right, Aaron. It's not a good situation. Kev Clues, Jadeja was out. Why are you saying that? Is this next ball going to be something? This is a nice 4, in fact. I'm not happy India are losing at all. Pathetic batting by Pant. He needs to be dropped by relative. Yeah, dropping him, he may have bet low in the order. That's still my thought. Maybe one low in the order. Because Jadeja's come out and played a pretty admirable shot there. It was a very, very nicely played drive. I think it's India's biggest hope would be to not lose by an innings. At this point, it looks likely they're going to be losing by an innings. All right, guys. Okay, I think because of the time frame, I might end my program because it looks like we'll have to come back later with a post-mortem of the match, actually. And that's probably going to be realistically not something I want to do now. So, well, why should I cry? It's just a game of cricket. Oh, our batting is not good enough for England. It's too early to say that because they've only won all in the series. They've still got 2 test matches to go. They haven't lost the series yet at all. Chetan Narula is just contemplating with fellow Indian just wanted to tell me something. I've got some Chetan Narula who's a part of the all right, guys, I might have to get going. So okay. All right, guys. I'll say goodbye now. We'll talk to each other soon again post session. So it's Norman Koshnak. Thanking you for your time. Eyes on Cricket. Make sure you view, like, and share, subscribe, and then we'll talk after the game, post match. Thank you very much.